I'll show you fucking October 7th, bitch. My asshole's October 7th, bitch. Come over here.
This is how you talking to her. You got me, Dre.
Sweet, are you saying that October 7th is the cause of the war in Gaza?
No, it's Pride Month for the Middle East.
100%.
So do you think that the Jews in Israel, they did a Hannibal directive and they killed their own people? Do you really believe that? Really? You believe that? Of course they did. They killed their own people because we're delusional and we're psychotic morons and our brains are the size of my pinky. It's too late. The Gaza is ours.
No, but we will take back every piece of land.
If you can't take back even a booty hole.
Wait, no, hold on. Wait. Who is gonna take back what? No who? The who is nothing. There is no who. Shut the fuck up, who? There is no who.
No, it will be a Muslim land if they take it.
Can someone fucking send this retard? It's up to the posting is what we want to do.
Honey, you can do whatever you want, darling.
It's not gonna be
You
a land.
can do whatever you want.
I agree. She's got a great ass. She can say pretty much anything she wants.
No.
She's hot. It doesn't matter how stupid she is. If you're hot, you're hot.
Yeah, but you're talking about who?
You gotta remove
I want to know who.
No,
Who?
no,
Who?
I'm not gonna remove no,
Woo!
Dude, I feel like an owl over here.
Woo!
You can't put people down in this one. You can't put them. You can't put them down in this one.
Wow.
Let's vote. Should we remove Doc from the room? Thumbs up.
No, I don't care.
I don't give a thumbs up here too. But listen, Doc is my Tiana, so I feel like if we remove him, then it's gonna be boring. So
He's like our substitute Jabelli. He's our substitute.
exactly.
Listen, Galen. So I don't want a Muslim state. I don't know what you're talking about because you will be wearing a hijab. and you
Yeah.
will be married to-
Okay, Mango.
You'll be
But
married.
hold
Hang
on.
on.
Hold on. No, I'm not gonna fucking let a fucking kite Michael.
I'm reporting you. Reporting you for saying kike. Reporting you.
From their fucking line. Don't come here and fucking spread bullshit lies, okay?
I'm reporting you for saying the word kike. You're an anti-Semitic hot piece of ass, but you're a bitch. You're stupid too.
Shut up, bro. A pair of nuts.
Okay, hold on. Adrian, how can I be anti-Semitic when I'm fully Semitic myself?
You're not fully Semitic. You're
Yes, I am.
She has all the semen.
Both my parents are Semites.
Yeah, okay.
I love semen.
What is bullshit? Come on.
Is it Seminites? Did they kill the Seminites in the Bible? Did the
They're
Jews do
Semitic
that?
people.
I don't care.
How the fuck am I anti-Semitic?
You can be anti.
Because you hate the Jews, and anti-Semitism refers only to the Jews, not to all the Semitic peoples.
Yeah, but you can hate.
I cannot hate myself. Are you retarded?
Yes,
Here.
You can hate yourself. You can be your own worst enemy. You can hate yourself.
This word only applies for the Jews or to the Jews because they made this bullshit up. But
I'm out of here. I'm gonna go enjoy my day. Baby, I love you, but I can't waste my time listening to your bullshit anymore. God bless, but take care. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'm out of here, bitch. No, dude, I'm sitting here meditating. I'm about to leave this room. I mean, I'm not here to. I got shit to do today.
Not talking, but your like vibrations are exponential. What, you mad that I know what I'm fucking talking about or something?
No, I'm not mad at all.
Let me ask you, do you know who Sato Ichigo is?
Mm-mm.
You don't know the name?
Mm-mm.
What? Just grab a pen.
I'm gonna go in my kitchen. I'll be right back. Hello? Word. 17 miles? Wow. Wow. Goodness. You're gonna need a massage. That's a number.
Modern day men who like to come at women when they feel either inferior or feel just like a woman. And it's like we see it like in certain spaces, but never would you ever think, or maybe it's just in my little bubble, that the running president candidate is comparing himself to a woman. So,
Are women equal to men?
in what way?
In all ways.
No.
Are women inferior to men?
In some ways, yes.
In what ways is that?
I mean, physical stature. That's one of them.
Okay.
Systems that are put in place in society, societal norms.
Are you going to make your point, or are you going to squirrel into a gender war?
Is she talking to you like that, Crystal?
No, I'm talking to you, Concrete.
Can you let Crystal finish? Can you let Crystal finish the list?
I don't think that's necessary to make your point.
How do you know what my point is?
I don't think that's necessary.
How do you know what my point? How do you know what my point is?
It's kind of childish at that point, man.
How do you know
that's
what my
facts,
point
bro.
is?
And it's painful.
Leaf, I don't know who you are, bro. I don't want to get into it with you, bro. I don't want to get into it with you, bro. Like, just try to just be cool. I understand you're emotional. You're taking on these female characteristics.
I am concrete and I am. I'm emotional.
I'm gonna just go back to Crystal, right?
No. Man, nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, that's painful. You don't want to hear that.
Oh, you don't want to hear that?
No.
Y'all are weird and stupid, man. It's okay. It's okay that y'all are dumb, and it's okay that y'all protect each other. Because y'all need a safe space, right? That's basically what y'all are creating, right? Y'all are basically creating a safe space for dumb weirdos. And that's good. That's good. Y'all need that.
If Kamala can insult Trump, Trump can insult Kamala. It's very like the white savior ratchet hose conversation from yesterday.
Monica, are women and men equal, Monica?
Hold on 1 second, Nathan. Crystal, I wanted to add, right?
Hold on, Nathan.
It's not so much to Harris, but also I think a lot of people forget that Trump he was a businessman prior, and he was also a celebrity. So he knows how to like appease his audience. So when he's doing things, he's someone that of a celebrity background, you know?
Oh yeah, I just put a topic on the table, and then I was asked my position. But I am definitely eye for eye. Like if you disrespect me, I'ma disrespect you, and there's no limit to where I'ma disrespect you. So I just put a topic on the floor because I was just scrolling on Instagram and I saw that article on the ratchet media outlet, the Shade Room, and I just wanted to hear your thoughts. That's all.
But it seems
And Samoa, stop trying to engage. Yo, Samoa, don't make me and you the same, bro. You engage women, I engage men. Bro, you are a woman.
Pause, Nico.
You are a woman. Yeah, good pause.
It seems
I'm a
like
man.
the
I'm not a woman. You get what I'm saying? Don't be a white woman. Don't be a bitch.
It seems like your question included like women shouldn't be like got at by men, and trying to figure out the context, right? Because obviously it wasn't a physical contact. It obviously wasn't a physical contact, and it seemed to be more of a like verbal, rhetorical, sort of insulting context. And I don't know why women would be off limits in that regard.
Yeah, so I didn't make a premise. I made an observation.
No. So what happens is.
Yeah, I made an observation. I didn't make a premise.
I'll clear it up for you. I'll explain it.
Ray gun.
Your observations, you seem to also be like espousing, shut up, you stupid person. You could also be espousing a position. Yes, you are. You're very stupid.
I'm not stupid.
Yes, you're very stupid. Anyway, so you seem to be espousing a position, right? No, you're stupid. No, you're stupid. No, you're stupid.
Anyway,
no, you're not smart. No, don't take it to be smart. No. Anyway, so.
Know of many metrics and means.
Anyway, so
disagree with
it
you.
seems like there's
Mrs. Leafa, are you available? Because I kind of like. At the mention of the speaking on Kamala's looks.
I just take it there's an implied premise within your
we kind of started last.
And that is women are not to be treated in this manner, and I'm just wondering why women should be. You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it. Listen to what I said.
That's not what I was
yeah, you did. You might not have intended to imply that. You might not intended to apply it. Yes, you're right. That's how I took it.
Okay, so just so that I can get my question out, okay.
You didn't mean it, that's fine. You just have to clear up.
The remarks about Kamala have
that's all you gotta do.
Whether she's black or not. And now the question of her attractiveness is out there. So, but like the...
And you crying when you're disrespected and ignored.
Because I'm trying not
to treat it like shit.
That path again. But you know, I'm also gonna treat you like shit.
You can do it without being rude, right? You can do it without
rude. You're one.
You can do it without being a rude dummy, right? Crystal brought it up, and I responded to Crystal, dummy. And now you're trying to make it about. That's your problem. You don't know how to be a normal human being.
I
don't know how to be a normal human being. Nobody knows how to.
You are or not. Anyway, so. Okay, so back to Kamala and her look. So I find it interesting that.
Callie, can I just address something real quick?
Can I just get the question out?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I had to make sure knowledge wasn't protesting. Hold on. Okay, so now previously the rhetoric around Kamala was whether or not she was black, and now the question of how she presents herself, I guess less so on her attractiveness. But the rhetoric around
I know she's stupid.
Obama,
she's a dumb bitch. This dumb bitch. This dumb bitch lives in Chicago. Tally. She's really stupid. All right, let's see what else there is. That might be it.
Dude, like, if you try to even remotely defend that dumb bitch to me, dude, I would slap you.
Which one, Tali or the Syrian princess bitch?
Any of the parts of you.
Are you in another room? Oh.
No, I'm in your motherfucking room, dude.
You didn't get your account back, huh?
Well, I mean,
which I don't know his real name, but purports to be an internist, internal medicine physician. And he was asking the question, so it happened with him in bed. You know, there was a little back and forth. You have to wait, listen to the question, not interrupt, but that didn't happen. And then what was happening on the opposing side was there were digs. So I was ready, right? Asked my question. Then I was called an abortion doctor, right? So that already threw me off. There were things said that shouldn't have been said. Very disrespectful, but on that side. So he was given a yellow flag. However, at that point, I was like, I'm not going to continue this because it's disrespectful. Even though Dr. Marcus apologized for him, he did not find anything wrong with what he was doing or saying. And saying that abortions are happening, the whole thing. So basically, our sciences were different, everything was different, and there was no respect. So that's how we got there.
That's never happened on Clubhouse before. She said sarcastically. I have a lot of thoughts about this subject.
What that dumb bitch fucking thinks about how she fucking just figured it out.
I guess I would have to qualify myself as an OG.
Oh, she's OG, dog.
This
bitch is OG.
Of Clubhouse, and have seen so many iterations, so many variations, and I've learned a lot.
Bitch, I bet you can't say one thing you learned.
One of the important things I've learned is that every vessel cannot hold every conversation. I think that sometimes our ego believes that we are going to be the one to come in and we're going to use this forum and we're going to convert this person that has this unbelievably
ridiculous belief system, but it's gonna be us, and the value is in the argument. The value is in the entertainment value, right? This is a place that I really came to understand how much disruption evolved to currency. How there are people who literally get their identity from diminishing you or demeaning you or making unkind or ungracious comments, right? And so this idea, one thing I had to do very early in the game is kind of learn to put my ego to the side. I love your room, Dr. Keisha, Arlene. I love it. I love it because it was a concept that I decided long ago in any room that anybody has ever been in that I run. It is not a democracy. It is my responsibility to hold and maintain the order of that room. If you have decided to entrust me with the currency of your attention, your time is valuable, your energy is valuable, your commitment is valuable. So I'm going to honor you by creating a space unapologetically that honors that. That's what I love about what Arlene just said. If you want to argue, guess what? You have this beautiful button that says start a room. So you can just go and do that. But it's okay to have a space that says that is not what we do here. And it's been very interesting to watch people struggle with that. That accusation, Arlene, that you just talked about, like this is an echo chamber. If it's an echo chamber, go someplace else. Why do you want to be here? What is it about this space that is so offensive to you? Well, what's offensive to you is we have rejected the idea that disruption and disrespect is currency. That we're not going to allow that to cosplay as conversation and authentic debate. And I absolutely love that. I wish more people were courageous enough to do that and say that and create those spaces. Because the reality is, as much as you don't like the echo chamber, you're dying to get on stage and with these people.
No, bitch,
Why?
we're not. Because we want to make fun of you, you stupid fucking poopa.
Okay, well then go into that other room when everybody's arguing and snarling and manifesting their mental illness upon each other. Like, I just find that really interesting. The other point that I'll make about this is we can have substantive conversations across difference. Obviously, it's what I do for a living. I believe in that wholeheartedly. What we can't do is do it absent relationship, right? And so there's a difficult conversation I could have with almost every single person on this stage right now in complete disagreement. But we could do it because we have a relationship of understanding how the other thinks, how they're processing the information, what their intention is. I am not required to interact with bad actors for whom all I have seen is a negative presentation of their character and their behavior. That does not make me a lover of echo chambers. That makes me a person with discernment who has been able to adjust my choices predicated upon the behavior that I have observed of bad actors. And it's interesting that that good judgment is diminished by people for whom chaos and conflict is entertainment. These topics are not entertainment. They are the substance of life, good, bad, up, down, how we live and operate together. You can have entertainment in other places, and I think that is absolutely fine. But it doesn't have to happen here.
Bitch, get
And
off
the
your
last thing I'll
soapbox,
say about
bitch.
this, rules only work if we agree to them. I've been really watching a lot of the coverage of the Harris Waltz campaign. And I've been watching people say she needs to sit down with reporters and she needs to do this and she needs to do that. And I'm like, in 30 days, she has completely transformed this race. Maybe she should be telling you what she needs to do. Maybe you should hold other people to the same standard that you hold the person that's been in the race for 3 minutes to. And I've just been watching people, and it really has saddened me because it really makes the point. The entertainment value is what people are interested in, not the policies, not the shift in tone, not the actual reliability of the candidate and what they have to stand for, but you just want to see fireworks. You just want to fight. And I'm sad that currency has become so attractive and so common that we literally cannot even trust our elected officials, our news media, because it is so
Bitch, when do you stop talking and breathe? Hello? Bitch, hello?
It's not legitimate.
Hello? Is anybody there? Are you alive? Are you just a robot? Yep, you're a robot, bitch.
Wait, hold on.
So this is with Dr. Francine, the vaccinologist who probably killed like a couple hundred people. Or I'm sorry, Dr. Keisha Davis. She's a real medical doctor according to her profile. It's fucking mental.
She really is like that. Off to you, Adrian. You're welcome.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I looked at the link above and I actually thought it was talking about Bumble, the dating app, but then I realized that this horrible person is the reason why we have inflation because they're price fixing cans of tuna fish. And I don't even eat tuna fish because of the mercury content, but I'm just saying that.
No, it's his admin and he's being a troll.
I'm being a troll?
Like a constant troll, just so you know.
Excuse me, that's ad hominem and unprofessional, and you're a troll, and you're immature, and your breath stinks, and you should probably go to the gym. So what I'm trying to say is when I'm talking about tuna fish and inflation, that was Marshall. Marshall always calls me out every room I'm in. It's unbelievable. He's such a loser. God, that guy is pathetic. That was fantastic. Thank God. That was so funny. That was genius. Oh.
I'm down, bro. Go beat up, bitch. Why don't you put your dick in my mouth, then?
That's what it's like when Jigaboo gags on a cock. Oh baby, talk to me like I'm Whoopi Goldberg in the sack. Okay, this is a girl gotta eat.
Hello.
Hi, Janessa. It's John. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How was your Pilates?
good. I was drinking last night, so it was really challenging. But apart from that, I made it through.
So you had to like hold it down?
I really held it down. I really held it down today in class. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. How's your morning been?
It's been great. Just getting things taken care of over here, and yeah, it's been a really nice. I didn't go out last night, so I didn't pay the price today.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, better than me.
Well, I would love to take you to Eris if you want to go.
Yes, I thought that was the plan. I thought I was going to see you at 2.
Okay, 2 works. Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right,
Okay,
I will. I'll freshen up and I'll see you at 2. Have you ever been there before?
I have. The company I work for, actually, we were trying to have our holiday party there once, so I've been there to eat, and then we tried to get like a tour to have our holiday party there, but we didn't end up going with them. But yes, I've been to before.
Okay, fantastic. All right, I'll see you at 2.
Okay, see you later. Bye.
Oh, okay, bye. Girl, gotta eat. Janessa. Girl, gotta eat. I'm sorry, what is that, like the devil or Satan screaming out from the pits of hell? What is that horrible noise? It sounds like the devil farting into a cum bubble. Sounds like the demon spawned hell itself. How horrible.
And I think it's the best way to engage with that is to disengage and not engage. And it's really hard.
I agree, Briar. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, and it really started out slow. There was a name calling. Because I didn't do anything until I moved to audience thinking removed until there was the name calling. And I don't condone name calling at all. You know, also there was a...
Yeah, but Marshall name called first.
But, you know, I'll tell you that I do see it a lot from certain extremes. That it starts with an attack of one's character instead of actual issues. And that's where we are. And again, in order to even have a conversation with issues, you have to be talking facts. And some people aren't with that doctor. Some people don't have their name on here for security reasons. Briar, I would say that. But I think also with that comes, it's like a costume. Once you put a costume on, you're able to, you feel free. You have no consequence.
With such a gift from your hand, will we show favour to any of you? Says the Lord of Hosts. Oh, that there were one among you who would shut the doors, that you might not kindle fire on my altar in vain. I have no pleasure in you, says the Lord of Hosts, and I will not accept an offering from your hand. For from the rising of the sun to its setting, my name will be great. My name will be great among the nations, and in every place incense will be offered to my name, and a pure offering. For my name will be great among the nations, says the Lord of Hosts. But you profane it when you say that the Lord's table is polluted, and its fruit. Its food may be despised. But you say, what a weariness this is, and you snorted it,
The
says the Lord
3
of hosts.
hours with
You bring
abortion talking
what's
points, all
been
those
taken
things.
by
What do I
violence
do when I go
or
to
is
a
lame
room?
or
All of
sick.
that was there, and probably
this
30 people in there. But I
you
look
bring
in the
as
hallway
your
and I
offering.
see rooms with
Shall I
Trump
accept that from you? Shall I accept that from your hand, says the Lord? Cursed be the teat who is a male in his flock and bows it, and yet sacrifice.
Okay, what the fuck is this?
Oh, Galilean princess, that's the Shema Yisrael. He's playing the call to the army of God. Raboina Shaloyloin. Conquer them in Jerusalem, conquer them in the Gaza.
Well, this is a great book to read while eating, in my opinion. I'm going to go ahead and pick up where she left off. So we're reading Malachi, English Standard Version. I'm going to go chapter 2. And now, O priests, this command is for you. If you will not listen, if you will not take it to heart to give honor to my name, says the Lord of hosts, then I will send a curse upon you, and I will curse your blessings. Indeed, I have already cursed them, because you do not lay it to heart. Behold, I will rebuke your offspring, and spread dung on your faces, the dung of your offerings, and you shall be taken away with it. So shall you know that I have sent this command to you, that my covenant with Levi may stand, says the Lord of hosts. My covenant with him was one of life and peace, and I gave them to him. It was a covenant of fear, and he feared me. He stood in awe of my name. True instruction was in his mouth, no wrong was found on his lips. He walked with me in peace and uprightness, and he turned many from iniquity. For the lips of a priest should guard knowledge, and people. For the lips of a priest should guard knowledge, and people should seek instruction from his mouth. For he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts. But you have turned aside from the way. You have caused many to stumble by your instruction. You have corrupted the covenant of Levi, says the Lord of hosts. And so I make you despised and abased before all the people, insomuch as you do not keep my ways, but show partiality in your instruction. Let's switch to Wi-Fi. All right, I'm gonna read 10 through whenever it ends, 16, I guess. Judah profaned the covenant. Have we not all one Father? Has not one God created us? Why then are we faithless to one another, profaning the covenant of our fathers? Judah has been faithless, and abomination has been committed in Israel and in Jerusalem. For Judah has profaned the sanctuary of the Lord, which he loves, and has married the daughter of a foreign god. May the Lord cut off from the tents of Jacob any descendant of the man who does this, who brings an offering to the Lord of hosts. And the second thing you do, you cover the Lord's altar with tears, with weeping and groaning, because he no longer regards the offering or accepts it with favor from your hand. But you say, why did he not? Because the Lord was witness between you and the wife of your youth, to whom you have been faithless, though she is your companion and your wife by covenant. Did he not make them one with a portion of the Spirit in their union? And what was the one God seeking? Godly offspring. So guard yourselves in your spirit, and let none of you be faithless to the wife of your youth. For the man who does not love his wife but divorces her, says the Lord, the God of Israel, covers his garments with violence, says the Lord of hosts. So guard yourselves in spirit, and do not be faithless. Amen.
Yes, amen. That's a very
Amen.
statement, right? The man who does not love his wife, but divorces her, covers his garments with violence.
Can you just repeat that, Rashawn?
Certainly. It's verse 16. not have to. For the man who does not love his wife, but divorces her, says the Lord, the God of Israel, covers his garment with silence, says the Lord of hosts. So you are yourself expressed, you cannot be faithless. And you weary the Lord with your words, but you say, how have we wearied him by saying everyone who does evil is good in the sight of the Lord, and he delights in them, or by asking, where is the God of justice? Amen. Amen. Yeah, so it is very, these were perhaps, I mean, this is like, the second temple has been constructed, right? And even after God didn't even ask them to make a temple, they made a temple. And then they kept doing what they were doing. They all got destroyed. And they were still delivered. And a second temple was built. And once again, it didn't even take like 180 or so years. That's from the time when this book was written. It wasn't just the people. I mean, the priestly class, the priesthood itself was corrupt. So not only were people bringing, substandard offerings, even the substandard offering that was being brought was in before he was even offered to the Lord. So, I mean, it just completely turned into a people who had the form of religion. They had the Lord's name on their lips, but their hearts were far from him. So, it's incredible how many times this has to be repeated over and over again tonight. But very explicitly by God. Like, do I really delight in sacrifice more than I delight in obedience? So yes, all of these crippled, mangled, blind, malfigured, unwanted, retarded sheep that you're bringing me as a burnt offering. But there is no aroma in them that is pleasing to me. There is a stench in my nostrils. And your worship is an abomination to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know the context very much of all this stuff. I think I just have a lot more reading to do and stuff and understanding. But when I was reading a bit, where is it? It said about, I'll just find it. I remembered a song that said one of the bits that I read. And it's funny how it's like sometimes that can be the first you hear a bit in a song, and then you see it in the actual words, and you're like, oh, okay. I'll find it.
A little frustrating day. Every time I turn my phone sideways, the littlest bit, it kicks me out of the room. Prashant's mic doesn't sound crisp as normal.
Oh, that's nice.
A little frustrated with Clubhouse today. Thanks for letting me share. I am complete.
It's testing you. It's testing you.
Yeah. Feel like Job. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised that they showed up with offerings that weren't their best, It's in human nature to do that. And without guidance, I assume that that's what we would do. So, thank God for the word.
Well, I mean, you brought up tithes earlier, right? So this is why this is collective brother. How the people ask, how could man rob God? How are we robbing you? You're robbing me in your tithes and your offering.
One of the woman farmers that was on the stage yesterday when we were talking about this, she was telling me that they'll drop off the vegetables, carrots or whatever, potatoes, I suppose, that the ones that don't look pretty, basically, the ones you're not comfortable putting out on the store shelves, they've got bumps or whatever. I don't know what makes a carrot not look perfect, but they would take those and they'd go drop those off at the food bank. So it's almost exactly like what they're talking about here. Only difference is the food bank's not an offering to God.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It gets particularly bad because not only are they doing that, first of all, even if they had brought their best and they were doing it emptily, that would still have been an abomination to the Lord, right? I mean, look at 1 Samuel 15 one day. Take all of the best animals of the Amalekites, and they're like, oh, we're preserving these things. These are the best of all these animals, these like goats and calves and bulls and sheep. And, why? Because we want to offer them a sacrifice to the Lord. The Lord says that's never what I asked for. I said, kill them all. So, yeah, you don't get to make up how, you're just going around worshiping God the way that you want to worship God. You're just worshiping God of your own imagination. And you know what? That's no God at all. That's just it's an idol you just created in your own head.
It reminds me of the atheist that came in the room yesterday. He was telling us what's what, and I was thinking about it this morning. It's always hindsight. You're like, man, I should have said this or whatever. Anyways, I really wish I would have asked him, like, what if you're wrong? What if there is a creator? And what if he, same with the tithing, what if you're not just doing this because you'll be socially ostracized by the people of the community or the churchgoers? What if your offerings are, in fact, going to the creator of everything? Would you act different? Would you move a little different, you think, maybe?
Yeah, it's really hard when those conversations happen in a way. It just feels like it's so much ego with it. Just not like, I mean, we all have like our so just making sure you can still hear me, so come outside. Yeah, like we have our flesh and the spirit, right? And so it's just, yeah, it gets very ugly, doesn't it? It can get very ugly, and
it can get ugly under it in like half a second, blink of an eye. Before you know it, you're slinking your lust underneath every green oak and slaughtering your children on the valley.
Is that like a metaphor for? Yeah.
No, it's no metaphor at all. It's it's an actual like literal thing. God sacrifice is like all over the Bible. I mean, it is like, it's like one of those dominant themes in the Old Testament, right? All of their God's fertility rituals, right? They're gods of their own like earthly prosperity. So they had to like offer whatever their propitiation. They had to propitiate these deities with their fornication, because I mean, like, all right, Baal, fertility god, his sister and wife Asherah, fertility goddess, the goddess of what? The harvest, or violence and fertility. So this sort of institutionalized fornication and child sacrifice throughout the world, like literally across across the world, nearly no exception that you can think of, go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. Because, I mean, man has always understood that, you know, only death pays for life. And in that understanding, I think even, you know, every single heathen culture was correct in that understanding. Correct? Yeah, absolutely. Without the shedding of blood, there is no remission for your sin. But the blood of what? Bull, cat, goat, children, it will not suffice. It will not suffice. It can never suffice forever. This is why when first John chapter 1, verse 29, John the Baptist, when he first sees Jesus, what he says, behold the Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world. Simultaneous. The sacrifice and the sacrificer. As God the Father says, or I have sworn an oath that you are a priest forever. Forever. Yeah.
Would it be possible to, for somebody, maybe to give me like a quick summary, not to take over the room or anything, of what we just read in context? Because I don't know, I don't really know exactly what's going on. Sorry. If not, it's fine. I just felt like I don't know, like a 30-second, because I get bits and bobs, you know, but I don't really know what else.
So Malachi is the last book of the Old Testament, the last one. And God falls silent after speaking through the prophet Malachi for 400 years or so. This is also called the intertestamental period. And it's not until the word is made flesh in the gospel come around that's when we finally once again hear back from God. So and this is why we made concludes in a very, very serious and as in this is once again, over and over again, once again, the Jews have demonstrated that despite all of the, I mean, they had everything, right? They had the word, God's promises, right? His love, his protection, his chastisement, and his prophets that he sent them one by one by one. They killed them all. Every single, and they kept backsliding. That's why, I mean, it's the final death knell, so to speak. Like God is event. This is why it's such a
Bertrand was explaining that, which he did perfectly. I was looking up other people's descriptions and just a quick search on, in a nutshell, what it is. And so they can't follow the law. Their practices, some of their practices were like evil. They had fallen into like evil practices, and he wants them to repent and change and follow the well, what is it? This guy says, he reproves the priests and the people for the evil practices in which they have fallen and invites them to repentance and reformation with promises of the blessing to be bestowed at the coming of the Messiah. And this one's really short. In fact, God says he would rather the priests offer no sacrifices at all than improper ones. The sin of bringing God apathetic, selfish, or profane worship is worse than offering no worship at all. And this chapter also includes combined prophecy and a threat to Israel regarding the Gentiles. Just a little bit.
Cain and Abel, right?
Thanks.
What was bringing things that he wanted to bring what he wanted to bring, right? And it was because God had to like capitulate and had to be okay with what he wanted to bring. But I mean, it's his brother who brought it by faith.
Thanks, guys. I know I could have Googled myself, but I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's a bit frustrating sometimes because I like love the word, but I don't know. Some people seem to know more. I guess they look it up, but you know the context of things more. But yeah, we're all helping each other. So thanks.
Exactly. That's what the body of Christ, the fellowship, the idea that you should go to a brick and mortar building, go to church, and be around other Christians is the reason behind that is spiritual gifts. There are things that you and Prashant and Lee and Philip and Adrian, y'all are going to be really good at that I'm just awful at. And there's things that I should be good at that I should be able to. And when we come together and we start bouncing ideas off of Prashant's complex brain or Lee's vast amount of knowledge and wisdom, whenever we start doing that together, well, now we really got something. Now it's not just a flimsy, brittle perception of what we think it might be. Now we got something we can all chew on. We got the meat of the word. That's how we create it. Yeah, something like that.
Just before we thank you for that, appreciate that. But yeah, and I agree with you. So, just before we go on about 3 and 4, because 8 ends very, very swiftly and brutally, right? So, I mean, just as an example of, just one more time, one other time that this same point has been brought up. I mean, and there's like hundreds, several, literally hundreds, throughout Amos song, or God the Holy speaking through the prophet Amos. And this is like being sent directly to the priestly caste, the class of priests that, are charged with the sacrificial at the temple. So Amos 5, 18 through 24, right? Amos 5, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Woe to you who long for the day of the Lord. Woe. That word woe is a very it's not just shame on you or you don't get a pass. No, woe means like oh man, it's woe for you who long for the day of the Lord. What will the day of the Lord be for you? It will be darkness and not light. It will be like a man who flees from a lion only to have a bear confront him. He goes home and rests his hand against the wall only to have a snake bite him. Will not the day of the Lord be darkness rather than light, even gloom without any brightness in it? I hate and I despise your feet. I cannot stand the stench of your solemn assemblies. Even if you offer me your burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept it. I will have no regard for your fellowship offerings of fattened cattle. Take away from me the noise of your song. I will not listen to the music of your heart. But let justice flow like water, and righteousness like an unfailing river. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, God.
Group of women who aren't having any medical issues, who are just like, I don't want this baby. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm trying to delineate between the categories that you would say, either miscarriages or ectopic pregnancies, and the ones that are not. And that was the
So you're talking about
when I was talking about.
So yes.
Thank you. All right. Cool. I don't have no backing for those women. That's just me. If they want to eat the fucking baby out their coochie, that's on them. I can care less because I'm not paying their bills and I'm not taking care of them.
Man, he's
That is what.
Fuck you, Will.
Shut up,
So-
Samoa.
So can I
What are you gonna do about it,
pick
fat
on
boy?
a child if they get on the
You think I'm fat and you're Samoan? You're crazy.
fucking welfare?
Yeah, I just happen to do things to make myself look good.
So I want
That's why you don't show yourself, fat boy.
So
Go on mute.
abortion is healthcare because there's a lot of health risks that come along with pregnancy. And I think women, even if they consented to sex, I think they should be able to opt out of the health risks that come with pregnancy. And also black women, especially since black women are 4 times more likely to die due to childbirth than any other race.
So if someone's getting an abortion not because of health concerns, but simply because they don't want the baby, is that something
There could
that
be many reasons. There could be many reasons, but I'm just saying they should be able to. Especially, and I think it's healthcare because there's a lot of health risks, negative health risks that come along with pregnancy.
Okay, since this is trying to delineate from my point. I'm trying to discuss the morality behind it.
Okay, so you're not trying to discuss legality and morality. So what's the problem, morally?
Okay, I'm trying to ask you whether or not you think there are any moral questions behind killing an unborn baby.
No. I don't think it's a good thing for the child or the mother, but I think it has to be done.
So you will at least admit that it's not a good thing because it's a child and not a child.
No, I that's not my point. I don't think it's a good thing because there's still side effects that come along to your body and stuff, like having an abortion.
Should there be any restrictions?
You just said the good thing for the baby was.
So no restrictions?
I mean, yeah, it's a living thing. I mean, it's living because the mother's living. So I don't think it's good to abort a fetus, but I think it has to be done.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere now. Now we're talking about the actual rule behind it. So you think it's a living being? You think killing it is not good? Would you count it as a life worth valuing at all?
Sure.
Okay, so
That's very vague. I don't really know what you mean by that.
would you understand the perspective of people who think that?
Wait, hold on, Paul. 1 second. What did you say, though?
So you would understand the perspective of someone who thinks aborting a child is morally wrong?
Yeah, I can understand.
And also you would understand you said last month. Again, we're not just talking about miscarriages and ectopic pregnancies. We're talking about people doing it for convenience, and that's the overwhelming majority. If you look at surveys of people,
But at the same time,
that's the same thing for convenience. So you're understanding that why people would.
I'm understanding why they're against it, but at the same time, I think I have multiple reasons why I support abortion. One is it's illegal. I know you're talking about morality, and I'll get to that in a second. But force vaccines, banning abortion, giving the government control of our bodies, it's just gonna lead down the slippery slope. That's my biggest reason for supporting abortion. And also another reason why I'm pro-abortion is because it that baby will not live without the mother, and it's in her body. So I don't understand why she can't extract something from her.
Well, so you think because the baby is inside the mother?
Yeah, because it's inside of her body. I think she should be able to opt out.
But you know it's an actual individual.
It doesn't matter. It's inside of her body, and it cannot breathe without her.
Okay, so let's put this in perspective. Do you think, again, we're not just talking about miscarriages, because when this happens, people cannot actually deal in hypotheticals because their morality being questioned is uncomfortable. But do you think it being in the body of the mother alone is something that allows her to kill it? Just to clarify.
Yes.
Would this apply for a 30-week abortion?
I'm sorry?
would this apply to a child that's in gestation for 30 weeks?
I don't know. I'm only speaking on something that's inside of a woman's body.
Well, yeah, that's your principle. That's your.
Yeah, so if something's inside of a woman's body, she should be able to remove it.
Okay. So
That's
that's why.
No ifs, ands,
No, hold on. So it wasn't clear because you were breaking up, Dope. So America, his question was 30 weeks, 36 weeks. Is it okay to extract this from her body?
Well, at that point, wouldn't it just be a birth? Like, I don't think you can abort.
No, it's still in the body. It's like 2 days before. It's still in the body.
Yeah, they wouldn't. You couldn't really do an abortion on that. You'd have to give birth at that point. That wouldn't work.
All right, so 20.
But hypothetically, if you could, I would think that there wouldn't be a point to it. Like, why not just give birth and give it up?
It's rare, but they do.
But if she wanted that to happen, then sure. But that wouldn't make any sense. Like, legally speaking and morally speaking, yes.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I think we were talking at the same time. So if she wanted to do it, you wouldn't have a problem with it?
Morally, yes, but like, I can see why she would do it, so yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking about morals like I wanted to do. Why do you think morally it would be wrong?
Well, if you're talking about like the end trimester, I would think it'd be wrong because like it can usually like breathe and stuff on its own and survive without the mother. So I don't think there'd be a point in aborting it. That's why I think it would be wrong.
So the fact that it can breathe or the fact that
it can breathe, it can be adopted by like a family that like wants it. It's like at the point where there would be no point of aborting it. But I'm saying I support her doing it. I just don't think it makes much sense. But I would still support it.
Support it even though
it doesn't. I can. No, morally speaking, if she did kill it, morally she wouldn't be wrong because it's still imposing on her rights.
So she wouldn't be wrong to do it.
She wouldn't be wrong because the baby's imposing on her rights. It's an intruder in her body.
The baby is imposing on her rights because it's inside of her body.
Yes, it's in her body. It's unwanted.
So Dope. I think that like this is where we would never come to an agreement on things because Americans being very nice with it. Me personally, I could care two shits if she gets that fucking fetus out of her body at 36 weeks. Morally, I don't give a fuck because we don't share the same goddamn morals, and it's not going to bother me because I don't know that fucking baby exists, nor do I care to take care of said child and so on and so forth. American is actually being very nice with you about it. She's actually trying to properly word it, but in reality, a lot of people don't give a fuck. And that's what I'm saying. It's like morally, nobody's going to share your morals with you except you and the people who you align with. But what you can't do is come and force your morals on somebody else, who don't share them. And that's why abortion will always be a crossroad, especially to the thing that you're talking about. So, unless what, babe?
Unless it's out of the government's hands completely. Make it a doctor-patient issue.
Well, no, he wants to have the conversation from a moral standpoint.
People don't agree morally. There are groups of morality. Certain groups believe this, other groups believe that.
Even within religion, you have other groups of morality where some people find things scripture and others don't.
Whoever's speaking is actually correct, even prior to the
The only way to solve this issue is to make it a doctor-patient issue. So if the doctor morally, based on his belief in religion or whatever, don't want to perform the service, he doesn't have to. The patient can go to any other doctor that will. So that way, that doctor don't have to do it. The service can still be done. Unless it's a private hospital, they can probably decide, like, we as a private hospital are not going to do it. But any public hospital, this doctor may want to do it, this doctor may not. It's up to the patient to find a doctor that's willing to provide the service. The government is completely out of it. That way, there is no more argument left to be had. That's all.
Well, the government was out of this at the end, prior to even the signing of the Constitution. We used to have in this country, basically up to the quickening, is when you could feel the baby move, etc. That was generally when abortions were considered like you're not going to have one after that point. And that went through. Actually, it was first wave feminists, the first feminists that came up that were anti-abortion. They wanted abortion to stop. They actually campaigned on this. They started forcing politicians to put in measures to kind of break it, which is why you get 1884 kind of rules. You get 1863 rules that exist throughout the country. You get these rules around that time because the first wave feminists, the women marches, all those times back then, were protesting, saying we want to do this, we want to end alcohol, we want to end this, we want marriages, we don't want abortions, we don't want pharmacies giving out elderberry powder, we want to be able to, have families. And so a lot of politicians created these laws and policies to go forward. Now, prior to that, there was no laws in regards to it. And in fact, we started a mini revolution when England, the Dukes of England got together, the lords over there, said they didn't want abortions in the American colonies because it decreased their workers, meaning the colonists over here, the producers. And so the colonists started a mini kind of revolution on that. They outlawed abortion, and England quickly reversed that decision and to tamper down. And then, as far as abortion goes, the left already won. You got it down at the states' rights. You're winning. You're getting it codified in state constitutions. You're getting it down. You point to one state, Alabama, but you've got 17 other states that ratify it in their state constitution.
That's not good enough. It's not good enough.
That's not good enough for what?
No, it's not because abortion is. Wait, hold on. Abortion is healthcare.
No, it's not.
If someone is sick and they go to the hospital or they need medical assistance, you don't turn them away. Abortion is a human right.
It is not a human right.
It's not a sickness, though. That's the thing. You said sickness.
Pregnancy is a sickness. What are you talking about?
I know, but pregnancy is not a sickness. And that's why I said just leave it up to the doctor-patient. Pretty much like fuck the state, right? Fuck the state shit. And like if you want to get an abortion, but your primary care physician doesn't believe in abortions, you can just go to another doctor who will be willing to provide the service because he feels morally this is wrong. But some other doctor may feel morally like it's fine. So just do it. That'll be the easiest way to do it. So the people who don't believe in it or don't do it, and the people who do believe in it, can do it whatever the fuck they want. They'll make the money off of it, whatever. Like just keep it a doctor-patient issue. It's up to the doctor and the patient, and no one else literally needs to be involved in it.
What if some people think that slavery is okay, and we just use that same logic?
Slavery is illegal. Look at the prison. Look at the prison system. Slavery is already legal.
You're like, you bringing up slavery, like,
you see the flaw in the logic.
Registered as a sickness.
And we don't
as a sickness. And I think a lot of men don't understand this. And I think, you have to realize here, abortion's not always going to happen. You're arguing safe abortions in hospitals. It's called safe abortion. Stop referring to it as abortion. You have to differentiate it here.
I should be able to safely murder people. That's me. That's like putting in legal protections for people who rob people's houses to make sure that we don't have the ability to kill them because it's within their morale to steal from your house. Yet there's laws to prevent people from acting on their morale.
I would say that a better comparison. Sorry, this is
healthcare systems in place.
I'm not making a comparison. I'm really just pointing out the flaw in the law.
Oh, you're talking about abortion in general, right?
I'm going to encourage a one-line policy, but also I think that a better comparison would be, say, the death penalty, where we safely murder people.
It's not actually a comparison because again, it goes a little deeper. Like when I came in here, some people were talking about the HCPCS codes and the UB codes and how we classify abortions. Like first and foremost, everything you go through. Pregnancy may be your diagnosis. You may have an ectopic pregnancy. This is considered a diagnosis. The procedure that's done at DNC, which can be utilized for a variety of procedures, does not mean an abortion. That does not go just with abortions. They can be used for other procedures. And so when we go through this and you say, well, we're just going to count the number of DNCs. The U.S. government doesn't do this. I know this because I help them track it. Like I know all of your medical data is tracked by the U.S. government currently, and a variety of other entities. You have no idea that all of your healthcare, every time you go see a doctor and you pay with a bill, it goes through your insurance company or Medicare or Medicaid or CHIP or whatever the hell else it is. It gets a little code, and the U.S. government takes a look at those stats to sit there and make determinations on policies, to see changes, to work the CDC. All of these entities go ahead and get involved in that. That's how we track this data. So when you're sitting there going through like the various abortion types, yes, there's been about 94 million abortions since Roe v. Wade. Now, if you break that number down, there's been miscarriages. Those are not always classified as an abortion. Some of those may be a variety of diagnoses that go with it, and those will be counted as separate. Elective abortions, those which most of you are talking about, those are going to be qualified under a different code, and those will get through. And then in the HCPCS arena, you're looking at about, I don't know, I think there's like 35 codes. They're all different. So, you know, you just have to be specific on what you're looking at and like who you're talking to. And just because you work in healthcare doesn't mean you know how we track all this stuff. I can tell you because I do track it. I'm working on it right now.
And the death penalty tally applies to adult, usually 99% of the time adult convicted criminals who have, you know, committed some egregious offense against some other person. That's different from a helpless unborn baby.
Right, but the decision to terminate a life is where I was drawing the comparison, not the
Would it be
circumstances
wrong,
surrounding.
Tally, to give the death penalty to someone that's innocent, that hasn't committed a crime?
It would be. So,
Would it be
but
like a failure
in that,
of the justice system?
sure, in that case, and why I don't necessarily support the death penalty, because proving someone guilty beyond a reasonable doubt is enough to sentence them to jail, but to death, I think it doesn't leave enough.
Sally, you have to keep in mind, like, the people who are sentenced to death, they didn't just go into a liquor store and shoot the owner by accident, right? Like, the people who are sentenced to death do shit like kidnapping a 5-year-old, raping her to fucking death, and burying her in a ditch. So let's not I'm not gonna infantilize men who or women who end up getting the death penalty, and to compare those sick animals to a human being in the womb is just disingenuous.
No, so the circumstances surrounding why we decided that a life, guilty or innocent, should end are not the focal point for me. The focal point of me is the termination of life. So for me, if you are anti-abortion, it would follow that you are anti-death penalty, because even if we have deemed that this person is not safe for society, we don't know what sort of redemption they could experience internally through self-discovery or whatever they have behind bars. A lot of them turn to religion. A lot of them, if libraries are available, become
Can I try to mention?
Even like, Shash, I have a question for you.
Hold on.
What, Tally, can I respond to Tally though? 'Cause that makes no sense at all.
So, Tally, I don't know why this logic is always applied to like pro-lifers in order to point out their inconsistencies, but it's like, we don't look at St. Jude Hospital and say, hey, St. Jude doesn't really care about cancer because they only focus on childhood leukemia, right? We don't make those accusations, and we don't say, hey, you must take in ball cancer patients in order for you to prove to us that you actually are anti-cancer, right? We don't say that. So to be anti-abortion is simply to be against the killing, murder, whatever you want to call it, the termination of a human being's life in the womb. If it was a dog life, nobody would give a fuck, right? But because it's another human being in the womb whose rights aren't undermined by their mother, they have the right to life. That's the only problem here, right?
So, Shash, I have a question for you. So, if someone, I just want your opinion. If someone broke into your house and started hitting you, what do you think, your instincts would be?
My instinct? I don't know, man.
So
I
do
don't
you
know
think
what I
that you
would do
would
in
fight
that
back,
moment.
run, kill them?
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
so
know if I would be in a flight or a
okay.
fight
So
mode.
do you think if I broke into Brad's house and started strangling him and beating him up, do you think it would be justified for him to kill me or no?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay, so if something is intruding my body, my home, my temple, and starts kicking me, is it justified that I kill it?
Define intruding, because the baby didn't land there in the first place, like out of nowhere. Like it didn't just plant itself inside of your uterus, right? It took you, unless you were raped, it took you laying down with another man in order to have that baby. So,
So my response to that would be, if I invite you in my house to have a hamburger with me, after the hamburger, if I tell you to leave, you should leave. You don't get to just stay here just because I invited you in.
Oh, God, terrible.
God, bro. What type of fucking logic is
amazing
this,
logic.
bro?
But I mean, let's put it to you like this, right? If your mom was in a coma, right, and you knew that within 9 months she's gonna wake up totally normal, would you still pull the plug?
Probably not. Not a mom.
We're getting lost in the mush right
It
now.
matters the relationship you have with the person, doesn't it? So you would think a woman would care to save her offspring.
I mean, but she doesn't know her off. She doesn't know who that person is yet, or that baby
so
is.
she should kill it before she has the opportunity.
No, if she wants the intruder to leave, then she should have the right to ask them to leave. And if not, then
I mean,
help
is
them
it
exit.
really an intruder? Like, if you invited someone into your home and you decided to kill them, you can't claim that they were an intruder because there's proof that you invited them in.
No, but if I invite
you would now be charged with murder, actually.
But if I invite you in my house, you should leave. If I tell you to leave.
If you invite someone into your house and then stab them for coming inside of your home and you kill them, you're still getting charged with murder, babe. Especially if you don't have any marks on you, there was no signs of struggle, you didn't fight back. I mean, they didn't fight back. Then if that's a clear cut, at least
No, the only way to get them to leave is to kill them. That's the thing you guys missing. They're saying if she doesn't want them in, and she.
The baby isn't an intruder, though. The baby is.
Her analogy it is.
Well, yeah, her analogy's wrong. The baby is not an intruder. The baby does not have moral intent. Yeah, it's a dumb.
I disagree.
Yeah. Okay, so Nathan, is a baby something born from natural causes, or is it something that instantiates itself through intent? Is it something that just intentionally comes out?
Well-known and documented causes.
Yeah, I believe babies are born.
Not like, mystical.
Yeah, but we're not talking about. We're talking about.
Yeah, we're not
I
talking
guess the
about that.
beginning of pregnancy.
Focusing on diversion.
No, because if you're going to compare a baby to an intruder or someone who doesn't want to leave your house, you're going to essentially say the baby is equivalent because it has the intent to stay and violate your rights. The baby has no intent. The person most responsible for the baby, unless the person was raped, is the woman who had sex and the man. So that's the entire point. You're comparing that to something that the baby has no control over.
I think you're missing the point, though. The point. Listen, we gotta stop putting intent on the baby. The baby is just there. Listen, we don't give baby rights.
No, but that's the point. Intruder.
We don't give babies. We don't give babies exactly. And the thing is this: the baby, right? The baby can't say yes. The baby can't say no. The baby only can live, right? And if a person says that, hey, they don't want to go through this process, they have a right not to go through the process.
Advocating for killing.
They don't have a right not to.
Yes, they do.
Well, but Nathan, there was a yes and no decision that was made at one point. It just wasn't made by the baby.
Because the baby is incapable of saying yes or no. Yeah, the baby is incapable of saying yes or no.
Right, but somebody said yes.
That's why it is.
Somebody.
And that's what we do, right? Like a baby is incapable of saying that
They want to go on gender therapy. A baby is incapable of saying yes. They want what you call it, a circumcision. A baby is incapable of saying yes. They want their heirs. Yes, the parents make these decisions, and if the person who is a parent or both parents say, hey, they don't want to go through this process, yes, they can stop that baby from living if they don't want it, and they can.
When do baby rights begin?
Nathan,
the rights of the baby begin?
They begin at conception according to the United States Code.
I believe they have to be born, and they have to have enough time.
So
why
I think they begin at conception. Some people think they begin at birth. That's the dilemma.
No, the baby's rights actually can be in the womb. You can arrest a woman on crack, drugs, and doing all this other shit while she's pregnant. You can actually put her into a prison.
Exactly.
So what law is she breaking? Is it just the drug use?
It's
endangerment of the fetus.
Yeah.
It's endangerment of
and they would tell her, hey, because they think that this person wants it, right? Because they aren't going through the procedures of not wanting to be pregnant. So so their assumption is that if you want this, right, you can go through the process of not wanting it. But since you're not going through the process of not wanting it, we can treat you like you want it. No, what if you're gonna treat you like you want it?
Why should it matter? No, Nathan, why should it matter? If it's in her body, we're using the logic to justify abortion, is that it's in her body to begin with, so she has the right to do whatever she wants. If she wants to smoke, fuck the baby. If the baby gets born either way, she exercised her rights.
You asking me about the law? Wait. No, you asking me about law, or you asking me about that's the thing right there we messing up. Are we talking? One sec, can I answer those questions, please? No, are we talking about law, or are we just talking about morality?
I'm talking about morality.
Logical.
And the morality is why we're discussing this to begin with. That's the entire point.
We have to talk about rights. We have to talk about when rights begin, because that's what it boils down to. I think the guy said that morality is going to be different based on the group, based on the person, the culture, the times. So you have to really boil down and agree to rights. When do rights begin?
If a woman wants to take thalidomide to ease her
when a person has the ability to understand,
she doesn't have that ability because there's regulations and laws against it. Why? Because they found out that thalidomide, even though it does ease the morning sickness of pregnant women, it also deforms their babies. So we already have kind of laws in place to protect the unborn. It's just a matter of having the ability to kill them. That's the problem. We can't deform them.
We talking past each other.
Yeah, we can't deform them. The law prevents us from deforming them, but apparently we can kill them.
We're talking about rights. When do they have rights? I believe that the parents have the rights until the baby or the kid has the ability to understand. Has some type of cognitive ability. So they gotta understand it.
I also wanted to say something to Shy. I think it's it's really hypocritical that you're anti-abortion but pro-death penalty.
Brian, when do you believe they have rights?
Against the murder of babies.
You should be against the murder of
I'm not against the murder of guilty adults that committed egregious crime.
Because the law
I don't infantilize grown criminals.
Okay. Go. Would you say, Brian?
So instead of rehabilitating them,
I agree with Brad that life begins at conception, and therefore rights begin at conception. So it's a separate set of DNA, a separate life. Right.
Okay, so let me ask this question, Brian.
Rights begin at conception.
Let me ask this question. Let's say you had a 3-year-old. Let's say you had a 3-year-old, and your 3-year-old has rights, correct?
They do, actually.
Yeah. Okay, do they have the right to say that they want to be a girl or a boy?
Well, no.
Yeah.
Gender and the
why don't they have these rights?
They actually do.
Well,
they have freedom of speech codified in the Constitution.
But I'm saying, do they have the right to Okay, do they have the right to actually be that? Okay, yeah, do they have the right to actually be that then?
But they aren't 18 years old. We've ascribed.
I understand they're not 18, but you said they have rights.
They do have rights, but they don't have.
Okay, do they have the right to be a girl?
We also can invoke policies under these rights to ensure that the continuation of the rights are applied applicable. A 3-year-old determining whether or not they want to have a gender reassignment surgery that would inherently intrude on their lifelong decision for rights and to have surgeries done at this age, although I would be hard pressed to find a doctor that would actually do this, but maybe there's an idiot out there, I'm sure there is. But you would actually be infringing on that child's rights. That doctor would. So there are rights to actually protect rights, and there are policies, well, I said that wrong. There are policies to ensure the continuation of your protected rights, to sit there and make sure that you're of cognizant, sound mind and body to make an informed, consenting decision about your life. So yes, we do it. Think of seatbelts. That's not in the Constitution. You have seatbelt laws across this nation that make you wear a seatbelt while you drive a car. This is for your protection. It's not for anything else other than you, and to ensure your continuing living. And yes, you may say it goes against your rights, but at the same time, the government has decided, and the Supreme Court has upheld this, that the government at times can say, this is a law that we're going to pass to ensure that you have a safe outcome and that you have a chance at life, basically.
So they do have the right to say that they can be a boy or a girl?
They have the right to say anything they want to.
No, to be.
No, yes, they do. When they turn of consenting age and are determined to be of sound mind and body. This is why
would it be the parents' decision then?
In the military and say, hey, you can sign up to be a soldier since you're
I
playing
get that.
G.I. Joe in the backyard.
So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. You have to be of sound mind, principle, and developed body to basically go through and say, hey, I am going to take this decision that I'm fully aware of and go ahead and go through. In our culture, our society, we have determined that age to be.
I get that. So they only have the right.
No, nigga, you don't get to talk to Brad. No, nigga, you don't get to talk to Brad.
So Brad, my question is this now. So they don't have the right to actually be this, but they can actually say that's the right. They have the freedom of speech, right?
Correct.
And if their parents want them to be this, do their parents have the right?
The parents technically do not have the right to sit there and go to their child who says, I'm a boy, and let's say mommy says, you're a girl. Technically.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if the kid says they're a boy, then the parents have the right to transition them into this.
No, the parents should not have, they do not have the rights currently.
They don't have the right.
Yeah, they do not have the right currently. Although the Texas case is unique as well as the Florida case, and I think there's another one either out of the Carolinas or Virginia where a mother has tried to do that, and there have been a number of California kind of dressing them up. But to actually have a mother say, my daughter's a girl, I want to slap them on with these medications. This is what we're arguing in the case today.
I'm talking about something soft, like dress them up. Change their name, that type of stuff.
You technically do have the right to do that.
Yeah, technically, you can dress them up in a dress. But if the child refuses to wear it, and you decide, hey, I'm going to physically force my child in an abusive way and punish them if they don't wear a tutu out in public, then you're going to fall in a follow-up problem.
Do parents have the right to
Child
abuse their
Protective
children
Services.
because it's their children?
At a certain point, Child Protective Services could get involved.
Okay. I see what you're saying. We're saying that the parents have the rights in certain things, right? And the parents don't have the right in certain things. So if there's a parent, right, they don't.
Yes, parents have certain rights over children because they're also accountable for those children.
Exactly. And if there's an adult, that
doesn't mean
comes to
that
a decision.
Our father can sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to take my little Johnny or Jane and turn them into, whatever opposite gender they are. No, they technically can't.
No, they don't have to. They can do it socially.
They cannot. Well,
Yes, they
can
can.
do a lot of things socially. They cannot do a gender reassignment. What the fuck are you talking about? They cannot.
No,
force
I'm not
medical
talking about the
procedure
gender
on your child.
reassignment. I'm not talking about the medical procedures, right? You have to get like some type of acceptance from the medical. No, I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about the soft. They can dress them up. They can make them wear this. They can make them wear that, right? And the thing is this: if this is an adult and there's no baby cooking in the stomach, right? This person can say that I don't want to. They have the ability to do that, and you would say yes.
How does that? Even that has its limits, Nathan. Because if
it does have its limits. I agree with you.
Yes, exactly, and it's the limits is
But
if it is deemed that the parent is being abusive in trying to socially transition them, and clearly the child is being emotionally abused, I guess you would call it in that case, then we would send child protective services in to say no, you're not allowed to emotionally abuse. Well, yeah, but extreme, right? So like, what's another extreme thing that you can do to your child that
I'm not. That's why I'm not appealing to the extremes. That's why I'm not.
Exactly. No, but we're talking about an extreme thing.
No, we're not. We're talking about abortion. Abortion is an extreme. Yes. What makes it extreme is when y'all start saying that. I've been talking about abortion. Well, I was trying to draw it into abortion because you were talking about rights.
Look,
they were saying that babies have rights, right? And I was like, where does the right start? They said the right starts at the conception, and then after they said that it was at conception, I leave. 3 people talking. Go ahead, Miss Andrew. Go ahead.
It would be consistent if parents have the right to abuse their children, but they clearly don't have that right.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. We just said they don't have the right to abuse their children.
Some people say that beating your child is abusive. Right? Just beating your child.
Well, yeah, that's.
I get it wrong because I'm trying to get a point.
You can argue that some people believe that, but corporal punishment is not considered abuse by law.
No, you just stop.
Selective modding, I'm gonna call it.
I just want to be there. Yeah. Anyways, like I was trying to say,
it's not the same thing as abuse. The laws for abuse are pretty clear. There's a reason why.
And the laws of murder is pretty clear. And when y'all,
that is true too. That is true too.
Well, you keep on over talking me, Miss Andrew. I told you.
You literally gave me the floor to talk and then cut me off.
No, you gave me the floor. Did you David cut you off? I was responding to Did you David. Then please start the fucking talking. Anyways, like I was trying to say, so yeah, murder is pretty fucking clear what it is, right? And when you guys try to conflate termination of pregnancy is murder, you guys are doing that shit. And I can do the same thing too when we talk about abuse. If I want to believe that abuse is you just beating your child, then it's abuse. That's what y'all doing.
Well, you could try and argue that if you want to talk about morally, but my entire point is that killing a child is morally wrong because you're taking away an innocent life. So that's my point. If you want to argue that, you can argue that, but this is like we're just driving away from my original point. We're trying to talk about trans and kids again. This is talking about why or why not you should support killing an unborn child. That's my point. So if we want to talk about that, we can talk about that. If we want to go back to just human rights of children, let's go to that. It's pointless. Like this is.
The counter argument is that we believe that forcing a person to be pregnant is morally wrong.
Yeah, forcing someone to be pregnant is morally wrong, but we're not forcing women to be pregnant.
Right.
Like just that someone an unintended pregnancy is not equivalent to someone forcing someone to be pregnant.
You're forcing no, you are, because there's an option. There's an option. There's an option because right now birth control and the last case of I guess the extreme case of birth control is an abortion, right? And you taking that away from someone is forcing them to have a baby.
That's like saying because we have an conquered nature.
An unintended pregnancy occurs when you have sex, whether it's protected or unprotected. And unfortunately, the sperm enters the egg and then a freaking baby.
We don't care about it being unintended or not, bro.
Because if someone forces you, they literally make you.
What I mean by force is you take away the ability for a person to stop the pregnancy.
But listen,
Once you take that away from someone, you are forcing them.
The way that babies happen has been known
We all
for
adults.
thousands
We all
of
adults.
years.
We all adults.
It's exactly, we're all adults, and we all understand the risk involved in certain actions. If I am jumping on a trampoline, right, I understand that there is an unintended consequences that I will be hurt. If that happens, I can't then go around and say like, well, that trampoline shouldn't have been made. No, I shouldn't have been jumping on it if I didn't accept a certain amount of risk.
Oh, okay.
And contraceptive is not
We have not.
No, I know. I said the extreme.
We have not fully conquered nature. To your point,
you're not even answering. What do you think my point was, Digi Dave?
You were saying
because
you were saying because there's birth control and all these other things that
no, I didn't say that.
I shouldn't. You did. You brought up birth control.
I brought up birth control because we would talk. I'm gonna say it again. To say to someone, hey, you cannot stop your pregnancy, right? You have to go through it because this is a life. It's forcing someone to be pregnant. And once you do that, that's immoral. You force someone to have a baby.
You're forcing somebody to carry out their pregnancy to full term.
Exactly. And once you're forcing someone to carry out their pregnancy, that becomes immoral. Because they should have a choice. Right?
But nobody forced them to become pregnant, you're saying, right? You agree that they made a conscious choice that could have resulted in pregnancy.
No one is forcing them. We're talking about the pregnancy. They're pregnant right now. That's the only thing.
Wait, how did that happen? Wait, no, don't skip it. How did that happen?
We all fucking adults,
No, but it does matter.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because I'm saying this.
Willful consensual sex.
Willful consensual sex. Yes, it doesn't matter how. We're talking about the pregnancy. Yes, we're talking about the pregnancy. We're talking about the pregnancy.
You can't even.
We're talking about now this person is pregnant, and they're saying that they don't want to go through the pregnancy. They're saying that they don't want to go through the pregnancy, and you're saying you're not allowed to do that.
No.
That's forcing.
No. I haven't said whether or not. I think what other people would say is the second there is a pregnancy, which again happened willfully and through willful consensual sex, there's more than one person involved in the calculus. That's the question.
Like when we did with the baby.
Like whether or not you consider the rights starting at that point, and then there's calculus involved.
Did. Like when we were talking about, hey, you can't take a baby and say that, hey, you're gonna perform gender reassignment surgery and all that other stuff because, or a baby can't tell you that they want this because they don't have rights. It's all in the parents' hands and all this other stuff.
But we said up to a certain point because the parents are not allowed to abuse a child.
So then I'll say this is up to a certain point. Up to a certain point, the person has the right, and that's what I'm arguing.
But it doesn't include the mother.
A person has the right to say that they want to terminate their pregnancy.
That's where it would become arguably abuse. Right? The parent doesn't have the right to abuse a child. The parent can make lots of decisions. The parent can make. Let me speak for a moment, Nathan. Let me speak. The parent can make lots of choices for a child, and the pregnant mother can make lots of choices for the fetus. Whether or not they want to get an ultrasound, whether or not they want to eat yogurt, whether or not they want to go vegan during the time, whether or not they want to do certain, all of that will affect the child, and we give the parents lots of leeway in that respect. But just like a parent does not have the right to abuse a child, the argument here is that there are, and we said that's extreme, and then you said, oh, well, I would argue no. Abortion would be considered by those who are saying that it shouldn't be allowed because it would be an extreme of extreme consequences, certainly. No, that's not even subjective. Look, that is the ultimate decision.
You just said to those.
Right. To the, I'm saying I haven't even.
That's subjective.
No. Listen.
Yes,
if you want to argue that it's not extreme, go for it. But from the perspective of the potential life, it is the most ultimate extrime decision that can be made.
Okay, so it's subjective. Man, we're talking about why.
If you want to argue for it, go for it. Go for it.
I'm not. Honestly, you don't know what I'm talking about, and it's disrespectfully
theories.
This thing is theories.
This is like you think that talking about theory.
What is immoral is you, as an individual, saying to this person who has autonomy, who has a right of their body, that they have to go through this procedure.
And what the other side is saying is that there's two people
involved. And they're fucking saying, Dave. They're saying that, hey, I want to, but you're not allowing me to.
And the other side is saying that there's two people involved.
Okay, I got it. I got the other side opinion. Clearly not.
So the law recognizes children that are born, right? That they have rights to be protected because they're a person. All they're saying is this should extend. This protection should extend throughout the pregnancy. This protection of society, because this is an actual living organism person. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, the calculus involves two people.
I get what they're saying, and I'm saying that even though that this person has the potential of being someone, right?
Right.
That the person who is someone, the person who's gonna conceive it and bring it into this world, they have a choice, right? They have a choice to say that they will go through it or they would not go through it. And that's all I'm saying.
No, and the argument that's being made is if the parents don't have a choice when the child is day one born, right? If they no longer have a choice now, then you got to make the argument that this is immoral. Because now you're forcing parents to be parents now, even though they don't want the child at 1 day to 5 years old. You have to strip the argument.
Yeah, if I could get rid of my kids right now, I would, but that would be illegal.
There's no state right now that you can get an abortion in.
I'm having one of those days.
The rights of abortion are upheld. And again, like I said, I think it's now 17, maybe somewhere around there. I'd have to look up the number. But there's like a number of states that have it codified in the Constitution of their states. This doesn't have to be a federal thing. Again, the people on the left that are actually pro-choice are really like fucking like retarded at times, because they don't even realize when they've won the argument, because even on the conservative side, even evangelicals in a group, you are seeing a growing number of people that say, hey, we're going to allow abortions. Well, now the fact that Trump kicked it down to the states, you get to have greater power to actually influence those laws and those protections in every single state if you want to do it. If you want to protect the right to have an abortion up to the fucking minute out before the baby's born, yeah, you have the right and the ability to do so. The left literally won this argument, and it's so mind-numbing to hear them say, well, we want a federal protection. The federal protection isn't going to do shit because A, it'll never pass, it'll never get through the House, it'll never go through the Senate, and no executive order is going to be able to write this into law. And the Supreme Court's going to reject it inherently outright. So if you're going to allow states to sit there and say, well, this is our state constitution, which will end up being part of the U.S. Constitution, because guess what? All rights listed in the Constitution are afforded to the states to make their own self-determination.
Unless
guess
the
what?
government
You want the argument.
If the feds
It doesn't matter because they actually overturned it. So look at Arizona when it reverted back and they thought they'd do some gimmick to 1884. They actually throw it back on the ballot, and it has a 90% chance of passing that they're now going to codify abortion in Arizona. So guess what? Even with Republicans in power in many districts, they are acquiescing, which is why you see Republicans running away from the issue. Because in the end of the day, some of these very strict pro-life, don't want any abortions in the country, Republicans, they lost the fight. They lost it. And I think it's stupid, because we should have bodily autonomy. We should have a codifying law that says every citizen deserves bodily autonomy, the self-determination of what they want to do with their body. That would extend to abortion rights. It also extend to mandates on vaccines and a bunch of other shit. If we're going to do this, let's go all the way and say we would just want bodily autonomy, and I don't want the government telling me what I can and cannot put in my body and what I can and cannot do with my body. So, I think that is a fair approach, and I think we could actually do this on a 50-state level, and I think it could actually pass something along those roads.
So if the feds would have passed a law, why would the Supreme Court shoot it down?
No, the Supreme Court didn't shoot a law down. The Supreme Court shot
I know
it
that.
down.
I know the Supreme Court didn't shoot a law down. He said that if the Supreme
They
Court
will shoot it down because the Democrats will word it in a fucking... Hold on, Marshall. That's not...
I can't hear something at once. I don't understand.
So the Supreme Court will shoot it down because the way the Democrats want to word the bill will open it up to another Supreme Court fight, and the Supreme Court will sit there and turn around and say, hey, this doesn't apply to the Constitution, or this will have some infringement on it, and there will be some wonkiness. This happened. This is why Roe v. Wade and other things got overturned. This is why policies all the time, legislative acts, get overturned. It's the way they're worded. And the Democrats...
It wasn't a legislative act, though.
I know it wasn't a legislative act. What I'm speaking to is there are legislative actions that are passed that get struck down all the time by the Supreme Court.
Right.
That's the primary job. And the way they're worded, because you're being a dipshit and not listening, because you're just
Brad,
a fucking leftist and you're
listen,
cheers.
Brad,
What I'm
I don't
telling
have
you
time
is
to
the way that you don't have time to go do something. Go crash a plane. I don't fucking care. But I mean, at the end of the day, when they word it like they did the last abortion legislation, because you're not fucking listening, you're talking. You're interrupting me. You're interrupting me. You're interrupting me. So I'm going to start again. The way the Democrats, 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 the way the Democrats,
Finley,
the
not
way
draw.
the Democrats. So there you go. So Finley, shut the fuck up. The way the Democrats worded the last 4 abortion bills that they wanted to pass, they put poison pills in there and they worded it so badly that it was even struck down by members in their own caucus. They didn't want to vote on it. Then they also, at the same time, will word it wonky that the Supreme Court will be able to sit there and say, hey, we have to reject this because you didn't do this right, is what I'm telling you. And it's the way it is because we do virtue signaling bills rather than actual legislation actions.
So I think a lot of states have the abortion issue on the ballot. So based on what we've seen before, it hasn't been good. The side that wanted to remove, bans on abortion. So I'm really curious to see what the scale would look like in the November ballot, because I think a lot more states have got the petition on there.
There are 6 states that have it on chaos. There are 6 states. All 6 states have above 75% chance of passing.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've noticed was that I went to a Catholic church in Missouri, and I saw a pamphlet that said, asking the people of the church they'll not send petitions for that to be on the ballot. And I was like, it was interesting because I think they knew that if it was on the ballot, it's not gonna go through. It is gonna go through, and it wouldn't be a win for the pro-life movement.
Well, yeah, but that's each state has a right to make its own rule as this goes, as long as it doesn't override constitutional protections. So that means Texas can do something super strict, New Mexico can do something super lax, Arizona could do something that's a combination of the two. Basically, what the decision in not Bostock. Oh gosh, no, it's not Tyler V. Do you all remember the name of the case which overturned Roe? I'm blanking on it at the moment. Anyway, the point being, it's a state issue, and states have the right to make those rules. I will agree with both you and Brad. I think the pro-life folks have lost. Nobody, I mean nobody that I know down here, and it's a Democratic stronghold, is okay with this idea of a national abortion law. They just don't think it works. They would prefer it be on a state level. So I think that's what the Supreme Court decision actually does. Now, like I said, that means states have the right to do super strict stuff, and it means they have the right to do really lax stuff. But that is oftentimes in our country what we call, quote, laboratories of democracy. Each state gets to try and figure out how it works, and maybe the way, say 4 or 5 states figured out to make it work, the U.S. government adopts, but it's really trying it out on a state level to see whether it works.
So I have a question for Brad and Marshall. I think, so the more again, because I'm Catholic, I'm really involved in the pro-life movement, because of the fact that I can't escape it in social circles. There is talks about having a national ban on abortion. I think if you ask any pro-life person who's very into the movement and politically trying to make it a headway, they do believe that. So how do you guys think that the GOP or the Republicans would support anything like that, or do you think it'll fall within the party because of the fact that Republicans don't want the national mandate, they want a local law?
I think they want a state and local law aside from the ones that are super duper strict, nothing should happen kind of voters. Lindsey Graham, for for example, talked about a national abortion ban like 8 months ago, and his opinion is not in line with the way the party currently is going, and it's not in line with our platform, right? The platform, for those who are unaware, you go to a convention, you have what's called a platform committee. They put together what are called planks, which are essentially like bullet points that tell people what your policy will be. Not super detailed, because it's a broad document, but the Republican Party platform in 2024 makes no mention of a nationwide abortion ban. Again, that's not to say there aren't people like Lindsey Graham who think like that. It's just not going to survive in the Trump Republican Party.
Would you argue? Sorry, Marshall. Would you say like my interpretation is that is actually Trump's influence to not make that like an issue that they're fighting over, and to say like, oh, let's put it to the states? Because growing up, I felt like the Republicans, that was like one of the things, one of the staples that they would fight for, and it seems like now they're like,
it's not just Trump doing this. It's actually a lot of main term Republicans that are actually kind of softening their stance. Like most people think, most people think like a conservative like me would be against abortion. I'm not pro-abortion. I'm not, but I don't like it. But that's a moral argument that has no place in legislative laws. It's not something like my morality should not extend to somebody else's. We should have a cohesive discussion on it and go forth from there, and then see if we need to make a law. And I think the pro-life people lost their fight because you could have done this in the communities a lot more effectively. You could have broadened it out. You could have sat there and said, hey, stop sleeping with, around, start paying attention. Look, you don't want to be a single mama. You don't want to sit there and have these kids with guys who aren't going to marry you or provide for you, or not even be fathers. Like, forget being provided for as a wife. Just like look at who's going to provide for that kid, and then say, hey, this is where our morality is going. We're working in the street. They kind of softened up through the late 80s, the early aughts, and into the mid 2015, they kind of made another resurgence. And they lost that moral ground. While the pro-choicers were like, hey, we're going to throw abortion wagons in every community that we can find across the state. And in fact, they got a minivan that's driving up to the DNC to do vasectomies and on-site abortions at a DNC convention, which is fucking mind-numbing. Which is absurd, but at the same time, a lot of like conservatives like me are like, I don't need a federal law outlawing abortion, because I look at it as that's one step. What else are you going to mandate with my body, with other Americans' bodies? And that's what scares me, is when the government goes down that way. And we had and just to give you reference, we had a Supreme Court that decided out of the thousands, and I mean literally thousands, of lobotomies that used to be a preferred treatment to give to women. Husbands could actually do this to women and lock them up in asylums back in like the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s even. They could get away with this shit by saying their wife was crazy, blah, 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 and put her in there and then get a lobotomy. And the Supreme Court in the 1920s, I believe, Marshall, was it? 1910s? They said that was a perfectly good right to be able to do with somebody's body, and the government sanctioned it and even funded through subsidies a program and doctors to go around the state doing lobotomies on people. This is fucking absurd that the government could have put that much power in somebody's hand and say, this person needs a lobotomy and we're going to give it to them. I am terrified when the government says we get to determine anything to do with my body, and we all should be afraid.
Right, I'm looking at, I think I only found X articles about the vasectomy or abortion truck. Is that like a real thing, or is it just like someone putting posts on it?
No, I guess one of the Planned Parenthoods is going to drive up a mobile health clinic to go ahead and offer vasectomies and abortions on site at the DNC. It's absurd.
As well as other procedures, but those are the two that have been advertised. The other one
on site from a trailer at the DNC.
Not a trailer.
Get your popcorn, get your cotton candy, get your vasectomy.
That's funny. Something like a mobile surgical unit that is in a, I'm blanking on words today. Not an ATV, RV. There we go. they can turn a big RV into a minor surgical suite in the back, and that's kind of what they're doing, at least as far as I understand it anyway.
I really don't know if that's a really good troll or if it's like really bad. If it's really going on, it's kind of like I find it hard.
Good troll, bad optics. I wonder if those are two sides of the same coin sometimes.
Sometimes I would imagine they are, but I think there are genuinely
I saw you, I was
people.
looking.
I
saw
said,
you
like,
were
genuinely a
walking
lot
You
of
should have been looking.
I was watching you.
Well, you gotta watch better. He wanted to be seen. Watch again.
Okay, we're having this discussion about the DNC. I don't know if you heard, but there's talk. I heard it in another room. That there is a Planned Parenthood mobile medical unit that will be parked at the Democratic convention. Is that true, or are we barking up the wrong tree and being too conspiratorial?
I don't know if it's true. I've seen it on right-wing media, but because it's on right-wing media doesn't mean it's true, right? Because right-wing media is not to be trusted.
I don't
Yeah,
think
that's why like I'm looking at
either
it.
of the media is to be trusted in that way.
I only saw like articles on X about it, so I don't know. That's why like, and I don't like.
It's on like
really trust
the New York Post, which I mean, you'd be a fool to trust the New York Post as being a legitimate media source.
Oh, well,
So,
I mean,
yeah,
they've actually reported on things that were absolutely 100% accurate, yes?
They have
Marshall, it's actually reported by the New York Times, so I mean, for the most
Okay,
part,
good.
you
Glad
know,
to know.
so
New York Times.
Glad it's been by an approved and sanctioned source.
If
Well,
that
I
wasn't
mean-
a demonstration of partisanship with the media masses and legacy, crazy.
Also, the Supreme Court did not return abortion conversations to the states. They returned it to the political system, which means federal bans are allowed. It doesn't say that only the states are allowed to make laws. The federal government can 100% ban abortion at the federal level with the Supreme Court's decision.
Yeah, I think that's what Brad said.
What do you make of the fact that seems to be internally disputed in the Republican Party?
What I think Republicans are lying about what the Supreme Court's ruling says.
No, but that's exactly what Brad just said. But then he gave the...
Yeah, he said there's no appetite for it.
Yeah, he said that there's a reason why the Supreme Court would throw it out if the Democrats were trying to do it legislatively in the federal.
No, Republicans want to ban it. For sure. That's the only thing that makes any sense if you're pro-life.
Republicans are not like trying to ban abortion. They would lose 46 to 68% of their constituency, depending on the region of the country they're in. Even in places like Alabama or Texas, they would just lose massive amounts of their constituency on it, particularly the female population, which polling after polling has shown that they are comfortable with abortion. Now, do they like, when you sit there and break it down further, do they like the idea of abortion being utilized as a birth control measure? No. Do they like the idea of abortion being allowed beyond 15 weeks? No, they are not necessarily comfortable with that outside of cases for the safety of the mother. But they do make carve-outs, and when you actually go through the polls, they're not looking to ban. They're looking to try to figure out how to measure it. And that's been discussion in Republican circles, particularly at leadership, saying, like, here's where our constituency lies, because the constituency itself is pretty loud and vocal within the Republican Party about where they stand on it, which is why you have people like Carrie Lake and other Republican people running for office retracting back their statements and running away from the abortion argument after they've made their bold proclamations after the Dobbs vote.
And I think Marshall even said it's not in their, I forgot what he called it, the 2024 bullet point talking points, basically.
It's not in our platform.
You mean Project 2025?
Well, of course it's not in the platform. They're not going to put that shit in the platform. They know this shit. Like, nothing they do is popular.
So it's not with the constituents, it's not with the platform, but you are convinced that that's what they're going to go for.
That's what Russell Hoyt said they're going to do.
And the actual, and the actual Republican Party platform. However, I do think that Thugga is right. There is a big group of people in the Republican Party. I know a lot of these folks who, if they got the power, would try to enact a national abortion ban. The question becomes, and this is where Thugga's like, illegal word coming out of their mouth, right? Are they actually going to stick to the state ban, or are they going to do what Lindsey Graham did? Is basically the contention. So I think that's kind of important to note.
What percentage?
Depending on the region of the country, is anywhere from like 45 to 70%, and you don't have it uniformly across. So like, they're even in Texas, Republicans for some sort of abortion. They don't want an abortion ban per se. Again, it comes down when you start going down the polling. Like, what are you comfortable with? Which, oddly enough, most Democrat constituencies kind of cringe at, like, you know, having a minivan driving up there to sit there and provide these services at a DNC convention. They're cringing on this. There's a whole lot of cringe when it comes down to the abortion discussion. But DNC shills will sit there and just say, oh, no, they're really planning this. This is behind the scenes, as if they had some secret insight into, like, the Republican Party, even though they have no fucking clue who actually runs the party, who's in the party, and who determines this stuff outside of the shit they get from Rachel Maddow.
I don't like her as a commentator, but she's actually a fairly decent author. She just rubs me the wrong way.
She didn't even write her own things. She had other people. No.
Oh, she had a ghostwriter do it?
Yeah, she had a ghostwriter assistant.
That is far more popular than you would think. You know, one of the other ways politicians up their book sales, they buy their own books.
Yeah, what do you think?
So it looks like
what do you think Donald Trump Jr. was doing? They market on the New York Times bestseller sellers list.
So that is
whenever you see like an asterisk, that's what's the best.
So that's exactly where I got the example. I had a friend who knows him fairly decently, and the family just purchased a bunch of his books to drive up the popularity. I mean, you know, I guess good for them. They figured out how to use the system.
No, that was work because they market. They can see. They can tell what you're doing. That's why there's an asterisk on the New York Times bestsellers list. They like let you know. They know what they're doing.
That's a good thing. I didn't know there was a star that was involved in it.
Hey, was that a real thing about the Google glitch with the Kamala Harris campaigning underneath the titles of these news publications and so on and so forth? Was that a real thing?
It appears so. It also appears that they are utilizing AI to generate optics, and it appears that it is a true thing that they are trying to somehow change narratives on Kamala Harris in the media.
That doesn't sound like a equal playing field. That sounds like people that are being conditioned to believe that a certain reality is actually a reality that people perceive as being reality. Crazy.
What in the word salad was that?
You would have to be a cult member to actually believe that that's a real reality. That's the point that I'm making. It wasn't a word salad. You just have to understand the contextualized.
It was word salad because you unnecessarily added more words than necessary to convey a point. Can you just say what you're going to say without trying to, like, spice it up?
You're just exposing your comprehension skills.
Possibly.
Right. So there's a difference. So real quick. So there's a difference between the 3-minute clip of Kamala Harris's word salads and what I just did. It's a wordplay, like people that have.
All right, bro. You're right, man. You made a very cogent point.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
There's no way that you could have been more brief and more clear. You were the clearest and briefest in the history of clarity and brevity.
So
briefish.
So it's
very
clear.
Brief.
It's very clear that it's very clear if you see the sorts of things the GOP is talking about. They want to have national bans. One instance is they want to interfere with the FDA's ability to approve mifepristone, and if you read Project 2025, the way they describe mifepristone is total bullshit. They say the FDA didn't properly review the drug, not true. How would these people know? They're not doctors. They say the drug's been on the market for like 30 years at this point. They say that the FDA didn't take into consideration that the drug, the fetuses don't live when given the drug, therefore it's not safe. It's like, yeah, dude, it's abortion pill. That's the whole point, right? And the whole point is that the fetus is gone. All right, what are we talking about? Of course it's safe. The safety is in relation to the mother, not in relation to the embryo or the fetus, on the state of the pregnancy. Usually in the first 14 weeks when you use that means of abortion. So they won't interfere with the FDA to prevent that drug from being on the market. That's about 65-70% of abortions to date is chemical abortions. They also don't like the idea of abortion being legal for the first 14 weeks, because that would be 97% of abortions that happen being legal. And the pro-life movement definitely didn't do anything for only like 6% of abortions to be banned.
What does that have to do with our boy Trump? With our Agenda 47 boy Trump? What does that have to do with him?
The people who came up with Project 2025 are almost all of his staffers that went over to the Heritage Foundation. The foreword for a book written by one of the individuals who is the head of the Heritage Foundation was written by J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is deeply involved in these processes. Trump is damn near 80. There's a good chance he'll be dead. There was also a secret taping of the guy who I'm talking about. It was Robert Boyd or Russell Boyd is his name. Some lefties surreptitiously recorded him. He thought he was talking to donors, and he said that he's not actually worried. He's not actually worried about Donald Trump being against, saying in public that he's against Project 2025 because it's just optics for politics. And when they get in, they're going to be able to do what they want because Trump's going to allow them to do what they want in running the administrative state and clamping down on abortion. He also
Sounds like a pretty vast narrative there.
He also said he.
The Project 25 doesn't provide anything pertaining to the agenda.
Oh no, we already seen the video.
I can provide the video.
No.
He also stated that he doesn't believe in exceptions for rape and incest.
Absolutely, but Trump does.
So, I mean, there's no evidence that Trump believes in anything, right?
Absolutely,
so,
there's
lots of states.
You're actually just giving theories and conspiracy theories.
Listen, was I interrupting you? I think you should let me in.
I think you should just love conspiracy theory.
A lot of these red states don't even have exemptions for rape and incest.
Yes, they actually do.
Idaho doesn't. That'd be the prime example.
One state. So where are they? Give me the multitude of states.
So one is a lot.
We can look it up.
Look it up. How many? There's 50 states.
That's the one that stands out in the head. Texas doesn't have to be there. And Florida.
Texas
Texas has them.
No, it doesn't. No, because
I see the amendment.
No.
Come on, one at a time, man. One at a time, guys.
The way that, so the New York Times had a big write-up on this. Most of these states will not provide these exemptions. They're SOBs. They're political.
Yes, they did. They do
The New York Times went in and went to the red states that have these quote-unquote exemptions. You have to go like boards to have them.
This is the problem with
why don't you go on mute and let me finish?
Why don't you just shut up? You
get
finish.
yourself.
One at a time. Let's go wrap it up.
Let Brad get himself a drink, I know he likes to do that, and I'll finish up.
Is that in between you taking grenades off the pipe?
We know that. But one of us does this thing and one doesn't, Brad.
Yeah, I know what you are, cuckold.
Okay, just focus on the points. So they'll get finished.
We know that they don't.
You don't shit.
Because when the New York Times went in to see how many of these exemptions were given in the state, it was like damn near zero were given for rape or incest, right? They're not giving the exemptions, even though we know that these things are happening. We know that even when they are granted these exemptions by the states like Texas, the Secretary of State will prosecute you, even if it's clear that you have a fetus that will not live. The Secretary of State will prosecute you to prevent you from getting a quote-unquote legal abortion.
You mind finishing your dishes and then talk after you're done cooking?
Make sure you clean the
It wasn't our
toilet.
Secretary of State, it was our Attorney General, Ken Paxton.
Ken Paxton, that's who it was. Yeah, that's who it was.
Ken Paxton, the giant, absolutely terrible, corrupt SOB. He's gotten in trouble nearly as many times as Menendez has in Congress, a Democratic senator, for those who don't know, who for a long time has been suspected of being crooked, taking bribes, things like that. And they caught him in the last year accepting a bunch of gold bars and Mercedes and something else from the Egyptians. And so, big deal there.
But yes, to contrary to Dipshit's point there, who just basically disappeared from the app because, Joe Biden got his ass handed to him, and now he's like trying to figure out how to simp for Kamala, like all these bottom bitches do. They basically exemptions exist in all the states, including Texas and the ones there. And when you say many states, many red states, no, you pointed one, and your whole bullshit, rambling, incoherent fucking points about everything about Republicans. You actually have no clue what you're talking about. You just come on here and spew fucking dipshit narratives that you make up in your head or whatever your fucking wife tells you she wants you to say, and then sits there and says, this is what I'm going to regurgitate. Go back to being the housemaid that we know you are, and that's probably the best position you'll ever achieve in life.
So I just want to clarify.
I really need to stop letting these alcoholics up on the stage.
I want to clarify,
I would suggest that.
really briefly, the House rules, even though we all know them, because I've said them so many times. No calling women bitches, unless you're a homosexual.
Oh, wait, Thug is a woman now? Okay,
Or a
I'm
woman.
sorry.
Why would you just tell Brad not to do it? Just say, Brad, stop talking about his family. What's so hard about that?
Wait a minute. There's no need to do that. This is what happens when your wife leaves you.
Really?
This is what happens.
No.
She takes her death, so she can
Okay, so the House rules are calling women bitches unless you're a homosexual or a woman. No spouses. None. No spouses. No children. Ever. No. And no threats of violence, okay? And that goes to both parties. Now, after this, you have to make people aware of the rules, even if you assume that they know them, and then you go into a 3-star policy. But considering allegedly concrete is some sort of leadership or management, I would think that he would know that you have to be sure that people are aware of the rules before implementing punishments. So, go on.
Can I have a question for you when this is over?
I have a question for you. It seems like so my wife dies, but she faked her death to go through. I mean, I should just go on the fact
Okay,
that
so no, we're not going on the
raped
fact.
women in college.
We're not going on the fact, okay? You're 2 adult men, and you'll behave like them. You'll behave like people who are raised right. Okay, so the point of restating the rules was from this point forward, you can't pretend to not know them. You can't pretend to be transgressing in error. Now it is intentional. Fucking stop.
All right, so just real quick, I just put the link in the chat to show Texas does have an exception.
Let's go through the list of total abortion bans. So I have it right now. We have Alabama, Arkansas, Idaho.
They all have exemptions. They all have exemptions. They all have fucking exemptions.
Right down.
Can we let some let some new people get in real quick? No, you're not going to go through because you're just lying again.
Brad, can you say something intelligent, Brad?
Yeah, they all have fucking exemptions in the states he's listing off. They all.
Then, okay, if his point is so easily disproven, why is it so difficult for you to stay muted until he has completed his erroneous statement and then tell us all how stupid he is after he lands, okay?
Because
Douglas,
this
go through
big
your
black
list.
man is
Douglas,
fucking nothing but a piece of shit. I don't care, like, Polly. They boot me out of the fucking room, Polly.
I don't want to do that, Brad.
I got the black out of him.
Put him in his place.
What the fuck?
He's
Stop being racist, Brad.
He's very sensitive.
No, so I want
Especially from a man who raped his wife and now sits there and brags he's a dad.
Brad.
Fucking college predator.
That is a disgusting allegation.
Go ahead. Go look
Please
up
stop.
Isaiah on the fucking
I will not be
internet.
looking him up.
It'd be one thing if it was true, right? But it
So,
doesn't really
go
get-
through your list.
Harris was just sworn in. Summon.
He wasn't. Shut up. Okay,
Hey,
so
what's up, man?
Thugga is going to go. That was not land.
You are so shady, Sora. Thugger, you're going to go through your list of states with, actually, let's start with just one, and then allow Brad and Monica to combat that.
Alabama has a total abortion ban. So does Idaho.
The risk of the mother's life.
Exception exists in both of those states. Next. It's not a total abortion ban. Exemptions exist. Next.
No, they don't.
Yes, they fucking do.
Okay, so in the instance that, so if in the instance that we have a yes you can, no you can't debate, wouldn't it be in the best interest of everyone listening and participating to just source up, okay?
Yeah, seriously.
Just provide a source.
And that source ought to be legislative, mind you. Like, you're both smart enough to peruse the state website.
A total abortion ban is one where, under normal circumstances, you cannot get an abortion, right? So what they're claiming is exemptions. Is simply life of the mother. They're like, but a normal person doesn't have a risk of death for getting an abortion, right? Because most abortions are performed in the first 14 weeks where your life is not going to be at risk, right? So a total abortion ban is one where if you get pregnant, and in all normal cases, you can't get one. That's what a total abortion ban is.
So I think the contention here is that total is being
Not
misused.
total. Yes.
Right.
A lot. And
It's
he
a
promotes
lie.
it all the time.
Calling it a total abortion ban is kind of
It is a total.
A lie.
misleading.
It is a total.
It's a lie.
It's not.
Total.
It has exception. Literally looking at the law right now, the only thing that is not there is for private incest, but they have it for
total
illegal.
abortion. Hold on, it's a total ban on certain people.
It's a total ban on all normal situations. Right?
That's not in totality.
That is not. You are
It's not
just
in
redefining
totality
things.
if it has exception. I don't understand why.
It doesn't
Yes,
happen.
it does. For the life or health of the mother,
When you
for
find
the
out
risk
when
of
you're
pregnancy, you
five
can
weeks
have
pregnant,
abortion.
that's it.
It has an exemption. It is literally codified in the law for the health of the mother or for any other medical complications. It's deemed covered by the doctor.
This is so
Yes, there is. Yes, it is. You're fucking
I
right.
put the link in the chat.
Someone should
Hold
have
on.
aborted.
I put a link in
Okay,
the
one
chat.
mic on
that
Angel.
shows- I put a link in the chat that shows even the reddest states where it's considered full ban. It tells you what those terms for full ban are, which is there is exceptions, right? Even the ones that say full ban, and it's after 6 weeks, obviously, because you don't go the first month and try to abort. A lot of people don't do that for whatever reason, because as a woman, I know that if you slept with someone, you could be getting pregnant if you did not take any contraceptions or did any precautions. So I don't know why women have to wait 24 months or 9 months or 10 months to do that anyways. But again, there's still, even the full ban states have exceptions and exemptions, and it's listed all in there.
If you get pregnant, you are not going to be, unless you're going to die in some of these states, and even in some states, not if you're going to die, right? Idaho is one where they don't even have that, right? So if you just get pregnant, you cannot get an abortion in Alabama. There's no place to get one. Full stop.
So there's a difference between Idaho and Alabama, Thugger?
Not
There
even
are
Alabama.
exemptions at Idaho too. There's exemptions in Idaho too under the law. The law that was just passed. He is so fucking out there. Like again, this is what DNC fucking cuckold shows do.
How do you justify lying to people, Isaiah?
There's
You're
no lie.
misrepresenting
It's a total ban.
legislation.
It's a total ban.
It's not a total ban.
It can't be total if it doesn't apply to every single
Like,
person in the state.
you understand that you said near total ban?
It's in the
When
chat.
citing
It's a
you?
total ban.
It's not a total ban. It's not.
If you are
Total
pregnant.
means
This link is
complete.
paid for by
Fucking
pro-choice
moron.
advocacy
Do you
groups.
understand how words work? Words mean things. Total means complete.
Bro.
It's not a complete
Are
abortion
you
ban.
serious, bro?
He's such a heard.
Is it like propaganda? What is this?
I'm really surprised that, you know, Isaiah himself doesn't go and, just have a bunch of... No, his name's not.
We don't want to violate any more.
You can't be...
Hi.
That's crazy.
Miss CP, your mic is a little low, but yes, go.
I was wondering, can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now?
It's a little better.
I was just asking, what was the question, guys? I just wanted to participate if I could.
Holy shit.
I just got back a couple
Second made a
minutes,
claim.
so someone else can do a reset.
Second made a claim that all red states have total
He did
abortion
not make a claim
ban.
that all red states have total abortion. So
All right, he said at least two. Well, he named three. He said Texas, Alabama, and Idaho.
Which has exemptions and exclusions. Yes, they do, dipshit. It's literally listed in the law.
So the claim is that the red states have abortion exceptions, even though they're totally...
Yes, they have abortion exceptions.
How can it be total if there's exceptions?
If you don't provide.
Well, I've actually got this.
Oh,
We
okay.
passed that. We passed a law with exceptions for rape or incest or life of the mother. We had this woman filed to get an abortion in Texas, and she was, whatchamacallit, she met all of the categories of Texas law for doing that. Our Attorney General, who was party to writing the law, then took her to court and said, hey, you meet all the medical conditions, but we're not going to let you do this. Now, anybody interested in that ruling, you just back channel me and I'll send it right to you. My point here being, yes, the law does have exceptions until the Attorney General decides to not make any, which is what Paxton's done. Now, that's not an entire GOP top-down.
But that's not the law either. Paxton got called out for that.
And that happened with every single case.
There's only been one case.
You can't, so the thing is, you can't just get them. Like, they have a chokehold on this. You have to go in front of a board, right? So you have to.
Incorrect.
If you aren't seen by the state, you can't get an abortion.
The medical doctor.
So no, it's not.
And the board needs to provide guidance for medical doctors to determine what falls in line under the statutes of the law. That's how that board works. You fucking liar.
Except Paxton threatened to sue any doctor that provided evidence with an abortion, right? So no, in fact, you do need to go in front of the government.
And he got slapped.
After you.
And he got slapped. Yes, he did. He got reelected.
He's still in office. He's still in office.
He got reelected, just like Kamala did.
So he didn't get slapped.
He fucking, he got slapped. He got slapped.
He elected in spite of the charges of corruption. For those who are unaware, Impact is now 10 years in to its Securities and Exchange Commission case of fraud. And for some reason, his lawyers have been able to keep bumping it, so he never has to face the music. He was impeached by the Texas House. Some of the things in the impeachment articles didn't make much sense, to be honest, so when it reached the ultra-conservative Texas Senate controlled by Dan Patrick, it had no chance of passage. My personal bet, Ken Paxton is the Attorney General, but I think Paxton is a corrupt SOB. He's been able to escape the law for nearly a decade for something, if you and I ever did, people in this room, we would not get 10 years pushing it unless we had a lawyer we could hire, $500,000 an hour, right? So I love Texas. I really don't like Dan Patrick. I really don't like Ken Paxton. In my personal estimation, the man is corrupt and devoid of character.
Callie brought a story
the big
about
thing is
Texas No, I'm gonna go. Tally brought a story first about Texas hospitals denying medical treatment to women suffering ectopic pregnancies and miscarriages. That's wrong. And we should all advocate that Texas straighten up. Put an article in the chat from 2022 that said they should receive medical care. So the hospitals in Texas that are not following the law should be roundly investigated and censured.
So hospitals have large armies of lawyers, and the lawyers are pretty clearly reading the law and understand that doctors are at risk here, right? So their aim is to protect the doctors.
In particular, in Texas, we have some of the best hospitals in the nation. MD Anderson for cancer, Texas Children's, Bristol's, Shriners.
Houston Medical Center.
Houston Medical Center is like one of the bright spots in the United States for most medical research and practice. It is, to tell you the truth, fucking amazing. So I don't know this. I had an autoimmune disease.
There's an open mic.
And I
I
had
can't hear
treated by some doctors. I got treated for a blood disease when I was in junior in high school. And so where I live, if it's really, really bad, you have to go to Texas Children's in San Antonio. And I was 17 at the time. Luckily, we had a Baylor medical guy and a dude who graduated from Southwest. His name was Bernini, which I always thought was kind of funny. But those bright spots in Texas, that's where I got treated. If I hadn't gotten treated at Van Cook Cancer Center, I'd have had to go live in San Antonio for a year, right? We have, hands down, some of the very best hospitals in the entire country.
What's going on, Marshall? What's going on? Why are there articles coming out that Texas is refusing medical?
Understand that they're going to get in trouble, so they want to make sure
I think
doctors are in trouble.
I think Thugger explained it very well. They don't necessarily want to do that. So I say this, there's a TV show called Scrubs. It is, by doctors, the most accurate way television has ever portrayed the medical profession. And so some of the time, what happens, in particular in hospitals with less money, is it's a turnout. It's a turnout. You go in, you get treated, they turn you out, they don't keep you. And they deal with a lot of more low-income folks who simply don't have the money to pay for that stuff. So the effort in the hospital is always to get the non-insurance paying patients out of the way. That happens in hospitals all across the United States. But
there's a big fear in terms of when a pregnancy is going wrong, right? Because these are all statistical questions, right? How likely are you to die or be injured due to this pregnancy? If you're 20%, there's a 20% likelihood that you're going to die due to this pregnancy, and you give that woman an abortion. Is the Texas law going to say that that's not enough and say that you performed an illegal abortion? It's a 5% chance that the doctor determines.
Marshall, is there exceptions in Texas, yes or no?
Are you likely to be prosecuted?
Yes or no?
Right?
Come on, man. Everybody getting a trophy. It's not cool, man.
So what the hospitals want to do is they want to make it so they wait until you are pretty far gone. So then there's no question, but that increases your chance of dying, right?
All right, cool. Sounds good.
As opposed to performing these
trying
at a
to hear
normal
you.
time.
I'm
And
trying
it
to hear you,
increases.
Kamala.
It increases the.
So there are exceptions, but just not being enforced, like our border.
So we've seen increased rates of death of mothers in these red states.
All right, thank you very much.
I have a link for you in the chat. Go ahead.
Yeah, Marshall, is there exceptions in Texas?
Yeah, dude, I said there were exceptions, but I also
all right, thank you. Everybody get a trophy for this fucking corny, bro.
Which essentially meant there were not any.
Sounds good. Just like how just like our border right now, right? We got laws on the books, and if somebody's not enforcing it like that.
No, it's not. that's not how I understand that, but okay.
The banning of, the attempted banning of methylprednisolone, but also throw, the drug approval.
There was a claim that these states have a total abortion ban.
Yes, which if
That was false.
you do, especially if you have the Attorney General,
Sounds good.
Right?
Alabama?
No, Samoa, the problem was the Attorney General was party.
Doesn't matter. He named three states: Idaho, Alabama, and
part
Texas.
of writing the law, which guaranteed.
Yeah, you guys like to talk just to talk.
When
He said
the
Alabama,
exceptions
Idaho,
came
and
up,
Texas.
he then went out of his way to make them illegal.
Sounds good.
Despite the fact
you need to be able to focus when somebody's trying to deflect the attention somewhere else, not actually addressing the bottom line question. Alabama, hold on.
If
Alabama,
you have an exception in the
Idaho,
federal suit,
Texas.
every time somebody tries to
You
use the
agree
exception,
that there's exceptions
not a
in
fucking
Texas? Can
exception.
we move on to
Like
Alabama?
hot licenses. They're only free
Right,
because the hot license is $499,999.99.
These are not total.
What's important about
Because when I hear the word total, what I hear is everybody.
What's important is that we tell the truth.
What's important about these
So I know you like to be liked, but we have to be objective.
Describe it accurately as a near total abortion ban and not a total abortion ban.
Everybody all right?
So you don't get your dick in a pinch, Isaiah. And for anyone telling me
who's
that
Isaiah?
This is high school.
calling him Isaiah, in his name, his name is Isaiah. It's in his profile. I'm not doxing.
One mic on my
It's telling the truth. And Isaiah is known for not telling the truth.
What's important about these states is that most of them, almost all of them, don't have any exemptions specifically for fetal abnormalities.
Monica, you just talked to me.
And that's the real thing that people are concerned about, right?
Let her cook.
Individual
Yo, thug up, mute up.
And it's not
there's no
okay.
seasoning on this cookie. That's the problem.
To survive outside of the womb, or has a situation where they're about to have a baby which has a severe, is likely to be born with a severe mental handicap, like really, really severe physical handicap.
Marshall, you saw the link I put in
Republicans
the
that
chat?
force you to have that baby.
I have a
They
question
want
for
to
you,
force you to
Marshall.
have the rape baby, and have a baby mentally handicapped. And once that baby exists,
So what he's saying is there are exceptions, they're just not as broad as he wants them.
totally left on your own.
He's such a bad thing to
rape
be
baby.
Right, he wants it to be for more
Track
people.
down the value of chillism and white belts daily.
Yeah, the
Like,
first
it
thing we want to
really
do is come to an understanding, a common understanding of what words mean. So when somebody says total, I interpret that as being everybody. If you're saying that there are exceptions, but they're just not as broad as you want them, that's a different thing.
Don't let these brain dead people stop you from kicking the ass.
Being broader. The young woman.
Well, he's pointing out all the instances of where they're not being covered, Marshall.
Total ban.
She claimed within what the
Yeah,
law
you keep on
said,
talking
had
about one
had a
situation.
doctor and a
Okay,
judge
can we do
say
one
she's
mic
done
or
all
wrap it up
she
so I can start
Under
it?
the
Monica,
Yeah.
Yeah, can I go first? Can I go first?
I'll go after Samoa.
Okay.
Yeah, so just real quick, I thought the point of contention was somebody making a claim that these three states, Texas, Idaho, and Alabama, had a total abortion ban. To me, that means it doesn't exist there. You can't get it no matter what it is. When somebody says, wait, there's exceptions, that means that there's a small population of people that are within the state that are eligible for this procedure. When people start pointing out, hey, well, you know what, it is on the actual ballot, or it is an actual law, but there are certain people within the levers of government that are not enforcing it to the letter of the law. And then another discussion is being had now with this guy named Thugger. He's saying that it needs to be more expensive, that these types of women aren't even included in the exception, and these and these and these and these and these other ones are not all included in the exception. So you can concede that there's an exception and have an argument that it's not enough. That's cool. But you can't say total unless we're all using different definitions.
It's a total ban.
Yeah, I heard you.
Hold on a
Yeah.
second. Do you mean
Go ahead,
de
Monica.
facto or de jure? Because what I'm talking about is de jure.
Well, yeah, you're talking about.
The way the
I'm
law
saying
was written is
to allow for these
Right, this is the problem.
I'm
That
Marshall, explain to the layman.
If you have a situation
in which a normal person getting pregnant can't have an abortion at any point in their gestation, that's a total ban. Total ban.
Well, I believe Monica.
Okay, explain the difference between de facto and de jure.
You already unless you gotta stop.
Get him, Talia, get him, get him.
Oh, yeah, de
Explain
facto
the
and
difference between de facto and de jure, so we understand the distinction. Because I think de facto, y'all not be like this, because this, I'm making it.
respectful?
You're making it worse.
I'm trying to help the
by-
conversation out, y'all are
Okay,
just
but it's
going.
Monica's turn though.
Queue, because multiple people were speaking
Some
at
people
once.
don't know what de
So
facto
that-
and de jure is, and they might
Okay,
not
one mic
understand
on you,
the
Monica.
Okay, well, those people have Google.
Wow, you're a child.
Yeah.
It's just
So
what
Miller
people
asked,
like brother.
and
Where I heard
then
people
Monica
I get it.
asked to speak next, and then I guess we could pass the mic to big old mean bully concrete, King Tigris himself, after that.
So I understood, Marshall, that hospitals
Fart sounds.
rate for quality of care, and that if a patient is discharged too quickly or dies after being released from the hospital, that the hospital actually gets dinged on their report card, their grade. Do you have any information on that? So the post I sent you in the chat talks about women not being treated well for their current miscarriages and ectopic pregnancies. So I'm trying to square that circle. What's going on? Why are women not being treated to the health care that they adequate health care?
We've always had a heart providing folks who don't have much money without a lot of medical care. In fact, the first political campaign I ever worked had to do with the hospital district. And the hospital district was for rural and essentially really poor folk. And the problem was that the authors of the bill lied about the hospital and how much it cost. But it's something that is direly needed. Any Texas hospital that I'm aware of, if you are in distress, they have to treat you, right? If you are going septic or your water broke or something like that, they're required by law if you walk into the emergency room to actually treat you. They don't have to keep you in a hospital bed for 2 weeks, which oftentimes means people get treated for emergency issues. In fact, I know a dude who's got a bone disease, and he had to have the front part of his left foot cut off, back from the balls of your feet. And he was discharged from the hospital the day after the surgery and spent $160 to get this heavy-duty antibiotic he needed, and then ran out of money. Now, I've done that for years. And so, of course, I give him some cash to meet his medical needs.
Marshall, 20%, bro.
Yes, ma'am, I can do that. Thank you. So I'm
I still never bother you, bro.
No, please.
No, I appreciate it. If I go down a rabbit hole,
You're good, Marshall. You're good, bro. We like your contribution.
No, please sum it
Go
up
ahead,
for me
Marshall.
too, Marshall. Thanks. Yeah.
Basically, as I understand it, they do have access, but because it costs money, they don't necessarily take care of people in that way. Now, as far as receiving abortions or being turned away, that probably either has to do with the direct text of the law or the impression that even if you follow the law, the state will come after you, which is what happened in that young woman's case, right? Now, we ended up having a Texas Supreme Court who was like, no, you can't do that. But that was only because the Attorney General objected to a law he helped write. And so, it was that issue. But if in general you're talking about people not having much money being turned away from hospitals, that happens more often than you would think in my state.
That's illegal.
I'm not saying it's not illegal. We just look, as a state, we don't spend the money to do that. We should. It's like winterizing our power grid so we don't have another blackout. And, in the middle of winter when it's cold, people die. But the Texas government can be fairly intransigent about things like that. Not something I'm a fan of. You actually need to help and fix stuff. And they don't necessarily do that. So, for all the rambling I did, I hope I added something. Thank you.
Marshall, you are a key contributor. You are an A-list celebrity in this room. Never let anybody try to tell you otherwise. We appreciate your submission, and we thank you.
Yeah. Hold on.
You know who we don't appreciate?
I like you well enough to tell you the truth. And you and I have had discussions before where I said your message and your information is solid, and if you were a little more brief, people would hear you better.
She can't tell your shoes, Marshall. This is Monica's truth and Monica's truth only. She can never speak for anybody.
Exactly.
Thank you, Florida.
By not telling him.
Your truth, not our truth.
I find her objections to be actually endearing. I know she's not doing it out of a place to screw me, right? So
you don't know you don't know Monica.
I know Monica for 3 years. She and I have
doesn't mean you know her.
Well, that's fair, but the woman I know, she's not trying to poke at me. She's trying to tell me to tone down the time. Right? I got another person who tells me to do that, Kelly. It's like, Marshall, less is more, right? Because I talk too much. So I don't mind that. I don't find it insulting at all.
Marshall, the idea that you don't have the bandwidth to appreciate your experience on her, Marshall, is insulting. It is insulting.
Marshall, the point that you were at, Marshall, the point that you were at.
Talking about concrete, Monica.
Marshall, the point that you were at.
It's insulting that Marshall doesn't know what he knows, Monica.
Marshall, the point that you were
at. Say my name.
Marshall, the point that you were at when she interjected to say 20 or whatever the fuck she said, you were not long-winded. It might have seemed that you were going down a rabbit hole, but it was still interesting, right? Because anecdotes are things that are used to help bring concepts home for other people, right? So it wasn't that, you weren't bad at all, and nobody's gaslighting you, and she's just a piece of shit.
Appreciate the environment, still like Monica.
You can like her, but she's still a piece of shit.
Marshall, do you give me advice, and do I listen and appreciate your advice too?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
Oh, ain't that cute darn thing since you've seen a fucking pigeon flying out of...
Florida, take your dad's advice.
That's a hypocritical statement.
Nope.
We've known Monica longer than you guys have. Okay.
Doesn't mean that you can see her soul. Don, are you trying to say that Monica isn't an evil troll that destroys all beautiful things? Look at how she tries to destroy Thugga, and Thugga is offering great points, and she has no articulate responses other than to be a troll.
Can I call for a total ban of assholes?
You know what we're not going to ban right now? What we're not going to stop you from doing is PTRing this picture my friend just sent to me of me as a teenager in Little Shop of Horrors, because, that's necessary for all little theater kids.
Hey, Concrete, happy Sunday.
Oh, Lafifa, how you doing? Happy Sunday to you as well.
Concrete, you're terrible.
What did you say, Don?
When Kamala's sworn in as
leave,
president, what do you think is likely to happen? Do you
Absolutely
think
not.
Jason's
A terrible actress.
Go offering, or are you guys going to stay home this time?
I think the economy will suffer, and she will go back to the same policies and ideas that she has been espousing for years. She'll push for single payer Medicare for all. She will ban fracking. She will ban drilling in Anwar. She will destroy a lot of our oil development and energy pursuits. Some far left, radical plan to pursue this not ready for prime time green energy. She will spend like there's no tomorrow. She will, basically just fuck things up as she's been doing for the past few years. That's what'll happen.
Move to Canada then.
I, for one, hope that there's another protest.
I mean, she's taken on some of Trump's policies, no tax on tips. She says now that she doesn't want to ban fracking. She says she doesn't want Medicare for all, but we know she's lying. We know that
she tried to copy Trump's things, but she says she's going to go after bonuses because, quote, this is the left. We don't want the fat cats on Wall Street to get bonuses. And end quote. And in their surprise negligence, they forget that the majority of Americans who actually work like union jobs, trade jobs, corporate jobs, a lot of people actually get bonuses. They get relocation bonuses. They get profit sharing bonuses. They get a whole bunch of bonuses throughout the year. She wants to tax the hell out of that. The left does. So her plan actually is, we're not going to tax tips, but we're going to go after those bonuses. So the guy who's making, the poor sod making $30,000 a year may get a $5,000 bonus at the end of the year for doing his job, putting his sweat labor in, and that $5,000 may come around perfect for Christmas, making sure he can get through, pay some bills, get some debt down, maybe put away enough money for a vacation. But they want to increase that to take more of that money. So that guy who's earning that, working towards that, building his net worth up, they want to fucking tax the shit out of that. And they don't tell you that in the fine print, but that's their caveat. That is what they are actually planning to do.
I never got
think about the private controls bullshit that she's coming up with. She's accusing grocery stores
One mic on Brian.
1 to 2%, profit margin. She's accusing grocery stores of all sizes of price gouging. So she's going to develop a policy or an agency or maybe the FCC involved, chasing down these grocery stores of all sizes, accusing them of price gouging, and then intruding in the free market economy even more, which is going to make things even worse.
It's even worse, Brian, because this policy, oddly enough, go look at her 1978, her father in Jamaica fucking wrote this policy, actually got this policy passed through Jamaica, which caused a depression in Jamaica. They ran, guess what, out of food. They ran through food problems all the way through. They ended up with a massive black market, which included a lot of fucking heinous shit, and it went through. This is a cut and copy playbook right from her dad. And the idea that somehow you're going to target grocery stores as the end-all be-all that's going to fix the fucking problems of inflation that were oddly caused under her administration while she was basically, I guess, giving out free head to Joe Biden on a daily basis. And then all of a sudden turn around and say, we're going to do this. When in fact, because of the regulations she imposed on the oil industry and the gas industry and the petroleum industry and all of that shit, despite handing out leases, but
more oil and gas.
And so again, increasing those fees, those regulatory concerns that the oil companies now have to jump through and do, which caused the increase. This is the number one driver of the cost of food prices. You have to transport it. You have to go through this. This is also going to impact the agricultural community, which is going to sit down there and say, hey, it is no longer profitable for us to do X, Y, and Z, and we're going to just kind of go through. Once you set the price, that's it. There's no competition.
Where are they going through?
They're going to
go
through that.
When they're
again, like, you know what? It's amazing that this piece of shit wants respect when he's speaking and pontificating, but whenever anybody else does that goes against his fucking cum-stained fucking narrative, this fucking wannabe. This is why crackheads shouldn't be allowed around children. But again, the idea that this policy would come through and actually benefit or stabilize won't even do it. What it will do is cause fucking your actual true food deserts. This policy is stupid, which is why economists both left and right are saying this is an asinine policy. despite the fucking tongue-tied, tongue-licking fucking granny that exists down there named fucking Thugga, also known as Isaiah.
You gotta go through it, Brad. You're getting through it, going under it, through it, over it. You gotta get through this. But anyway,
maybe you should go back to college and start being that predator that we all know you are.
What are we doing? Are you going to get some of that jerk chicken and dosas at the inauguration, or is it best?
I mean, like CNN said it was a bad idea. They're even
I, for one, hope that there's another protest.
I hope they burn down Thugga's house.
You think they'll have the balls to go back?
I mean, MSNBC
The Supreme Court basically just like validated them and made sure that they don't get charged with the most serious punishments. So yeah, I think they will. They'll be able to.
I don't think. I mean, you can like protest, but if they tried like that shit again,
no, but the Supreme Court just shot down any sort of like treason or trespassing or insurrection laws on them, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't address anything.
What I'm saying is that there's going to be orders to shoot to kill. That's what I'm saying. If they try that shit again, there won't be a case because you won't make it to the case.
They had orders to shoot to kill anyway, you dipshit. You don't even know how our fucking government work.
I have no idea. I have no idea what
they literally shot a girl on the set. They had Secret Service has orders to shoot.
I would sure as shit hope that there's no shoot to kill orders. Otherwise, it would only justify them even more so in their right to do what they're doing.
Listen, Florida. Let me just say this.
People didn't agree with the like if you break into a building, you can get shot, right?
Let me just say this.
Stand your ground.
Yeah, let me say this. So I was watching this Guy Ritchie movie. It's called The Covenant. If you have Amazon Prime, which you should all have, all praise Jeff Bezos. It's a very good movie. And there's a scene in the movie, it's not a spoiler, there's a scene in the movie where there is an attack helicopter. There's an attack helicopter that is killing some, enemy combatants. And you hear this sound that goes, brr, brr. It is just them getting lit up. Brr, brr.
That's
if
what it's
those
supposed to be,
people,
I'm telling you.
If those people think that they're gonna try that shit again, it's gonna sound like brr, brr, and that's gonna be it. That'll be the last thing they ever hear.
So 4 weeks ago, pro-Palestinian fuckers stormed their way into the Capitol building, occupied areas, even off limits to them, marched their asses right through, protesting all the way, and guess what? They didn't go brr, brr, brr from fucking 60 cows. They didn't do that shit. So, at the end of the day, they're not going to fucking do this. And as far as orders to shoot to kill, they actually do have them. They have it to actually go through.
The question, go ahead.
Brad, you gotta admit, Brad.
The question is going through. I really do. I hope they burn Boston to the fucking ground for pieces of shit like you. But at the end, I'd be okay with returning you to whatever fucking shithole you came from. But at the end of the day, they basically would not go ahead and handle it that way. Because there's actually, if you've been paying attention, there's been intrusions into the Capitol already. And Ashley Babbitt deserved it.
One mic, guys, come on.
That is I can't wait till they air you out. I can't wait till you get your fucking head cut off. No matter what side of the argument you're on, we have to admit, hearing that sound from an attack helicopter is musical, soothing, so on and so forth, right? We all agree.
This is not a sound of machine.
It is the sound of freedom. Brian is correct.
Oh, there was a movie called that, right, Brian?
So the next time that a black man's gunned down in the street and just shot, I don't want to hear anybody on this stage going, hey,
y'all
we
try
should look
it.
into
Kamala
this.
Harris is gonna be playing Run Up, Get Done Up, and y'all gonna get done up.
Oh my God.
You're doing the Willie Brown version, right? You're doing the Willie Brown version.
Wait, didn't she locked up 1,000+ black men and put them in jail?
10th grade in Little Shop of Horrors. I did not have a prominent role I was a terrible actress. But basically, if you audition, you got to roll, and that's why I am pictured. Thank you.
Well, you look good. But what about, so that was the Willie Brown version?
Didn't she lock up all these black men who like refuse to overturn their death row? Like, you guys, I hope she does.
Andre
I can't wait till Doug gets locked up.
Tulsi Gabbard looked her, and they still haven't lived up to it.
Yeah, you should see Andrew Jacobs' his testimony on it.
Samoa,
50 years. Yeah. Yeah, what's
share that tweet you posted. That's amazing. I think everybody should know how popular giving illegal immigrants and no, it's great. I love that Gretchen Whitmer.
I'll tell you one thing I'll never do. I'll never run up in no federal building or anything like that.
Why are you interrupting
They're not playing out here with you.
Manners. I can't tell you how reassuring it is that the Democratic leadership has its pulse on the nation. How good policy, what good policy this is. Can you share some more of it, Simone?
No, it's just pretty clear. Like we can see the marching orders from Whitner and Tim Walz and the Democratic platform. They believe, right? Like with all honesty, they believe that this is popular with the majority of Americans in America. And it's crazy that you're giving illegal immigrants driver's license, you're giving them free medical care. You're giving them all these privileges that were at once time, it was for American citizens only. So there's this big old firewall that they're putting up saying that it's illegal for Americans or illegal immigrants to vote in our elections, to be actively moving through, taking away the resources from Americans and the privileges of Americans. And they're saying it out loud is what I'm saying. And I put the link in the chat.
Imagine Nancy Pelosi on the back of the Humvee.
Wait, Saga, I thought you hate immigrants. Do you love illegals then? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Just click on the link. I mean, they're saying this is so popular for the world,
Yeah,
but
like we
a
should
lot of people are...
amplify this. I hope everybody goes and retweets, reposts Samoa's post, because people need to understand that our leaders know what's best for us. They are at our kitchen table. They are helping us pay our bills. They are helping us fund tuition, college tuition for our children. They are living
Y'all children
our
can't
lives.
even get into college. What's the problem?
We are down.
Only because you're trying to take away legacy admissions, you piece of shit.
Don't mind Thugga. He hasn't finished the evolutionary set from
having to work to get into school. Fuck you and you're taking away legacy admissions.
Listening to you cats talk about immigration, it's beyond hilarious. There's got to be a new word for it. First of all, I don't hear none of y'all proposing mass arrest of the people hiring them, and y'all not going to propose it. After I get through talking, and one of y'all going to say, I want the candidate. They're not coming over here to be unemployed, so arrest the people who employ them. Why don't y'all want to do that? Y'all as non-serious as the people y'all talking about. Where's the march to say arrest the Americans who hire them? Y'all fake. All this crying. All of y'all on this stage who claim y'all against immigration, you're phony. Because you don't want to arrest the people hired. You're fake. When you say hire the people, arrest them, I believe you.
No, why would you? Why would you
just arrest them?
arresting Americans that
For hiring them.
Oh my God.
Okay,
all right.
You want them in illegally to begin with.
You're not serious.
You want them to
I want you to arrest the people hiring them. They'll stop talking.
I thought so.
How about this, brother? Let's propose a law, right? We'll prosecute all employers. We'll prosecute all employers who openly employ illegals, but then we'll deport the rest of them. We'll deport all illegals. Is that cool? Would you be agree with that?
I can agree with that. After you arrest them.
Actually, I think that's reasonable.
Not arrest them first. Put them in a jail cell. They don't go to jail cell with lying Trump shows you can get arrested and go back. I can president have to get arrested. That don't count. You got to go to jail.
So what you would at least you would be in favor of deporting them.
Yeah, you put the other people hired in prison. Yep.
Okay, so it has to.
But y'all don't want to see them get arrested. Y'all fake.
Wait, arrested?
I'm one of the people who think that people who openly employ illegals for the advantage of
not paying them as much should be prosecuted. I think that should be something. So if that's something you're willing to compromise on, I think we should do that as a nation.
Yeah, most rank and file Republicans are supportive of E-Verify. What happens is the politicians and the folks in the at the positions to enforce it don't enforce it. But most of the people are supportive of E-Verify.
No, we ain't too much people towards the stage. Y'all ain't getting off the. Why don't you on the stage crying? Because that's all y'all doing. Why don't y'all call for their arrest as a part of a policy? Y'all so interested in new policies. You're saying I ain't talking about the E-Verifiers. I ain't talking about the governors.
Nobody's calling for amnesty of these people if they get caught. Nobody's calling for amnesty of people who employ these illegals. Nobody's coming to the defense of these people who are employing illegals. You people, no, I'm sure it's a lot. But you are definitely coming to the defense of illegals.
So the people coming to the country to be unemployed.
No, they come to the country for a variety of things. They come to the country for the benefits of it. They come to the country because they know they're not going to be deported anyway. Many of these people are definitely not employed, but they don't give a fuck. They're coming here. There's fucking Venezuelan gang members.
Libtards exist, and libtards will make it happen for them. That's why they come to
Y'all not serious. Matter of fact, y'all ought to get a T-shirt that says "We the Not Serious Club." We the complainers club.
No, we're very serious. First, you need to cross the border, then you need to figure out.
All you're doing is just complaining about Republicans, but you don't fucking propose an idea. Your whole
I'm proposing an idea, Brad. Arrest the people.
We have
who hired
Tyson.
them. That's an idea.
Tyson went. Tyson paid fines.
I need to arrest her.
Cold Foods, Cold Stone Foods. Hold on, Monica. Cold Stone Foods are fucking fine. Tyson fine. Purdue fine. Dole fine. And I believe 2 people arrested. So what more do you want? The laws are working.
I didn't say fine. You said fine. Let me repeat the word arrest. I never brought up money.
Okay, put the law up there, dipshit.
All you're doing is taking the money from the...
Who am I going to arrest?
I want in jail.
Who am I going to arrest?
The person
should I start with the school?
Thank you, Brad, for that question.
Am I going to start with the school? Should I arrest every teacher, every worker?
Oh, no, teachers don't hire. No, you only arrest the people who hire.
Wait, no. If I arrest everybody in an organization in your school that hires an illegal janitor to scrub toilets, so should I take your ass and
you
throw you
should
in
arrest the person who hired them. Stop acting ignorant.
They get fined, they get fired, and they do go to jail at
I'm going to arrest a co-janitor because he hired it. No. Who hired them and who's paying them? Take that person to jail.
We will do that too. Once we close the border and fire the actual person who lets them in.
Let me ask y'all a question about the border that y'all trying to
And once you get on our side to arrest the person that lets them in to begin with, then we're gonna arrest people that gave them jobs.
Well, let me ask you this question about y'all most powerful country on earth, that fantasy that y'all all have. So you got the most powerful country on earth.
Of freedom that this.
Well, then why? Okay, hold on. You got the most powerful country on earth. Why can't you stop your border, Mr. Powerful?
People like you.
The whole thing is phony.
People like you, Malcolm.
Oh, I'm not on the border. See how the excuse making? You can't stop them because I'm sitting here in Ohio.
People like you who are globalists. People like you who believe in open borders and think.
It don't matter what I believe. It don't matter what I believe.
But you
Why don't
vote.
people stop them?
As an American, you have the privilege to vote.
No, Lying Trump had president.
Watching Fox News or CNN, but this is exactly what this feels like.
Malcolm. What we'll do is we'll put gun turrets up all
Y'all just like to
over
cry.
50 cals, and I'm gonna make you mount one of those. I'll run
I don't
the
mind that.
president,
Whatever you say.
and you can shoot whoever, anybody comes near the border. You can
Oh no,
literally.
you don't never want me to start shooting. Because you know where those bullets are going down.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Never let me start shooting. It ain't gonna be somebody's name I can't pronounce. It ain't gonna be somebody who I don't even know where they're from. If I ever start shooting, Brad, you can bet everything you dreamed of. It won't be a stranger. Stop that nonsense.
But you don't have guns, Malcolm.
Malcolm, who would you
I'm not interested in guns. I was using Brad's silly
How are you
analogy.
gonna shoot him?
I was using Brad's silly analogy. He's just making stuff up.
Who would you
Y'all have had 12 years of Republicans and 12 years of Democrats. It just so happened, this is the 24th year of the century, there's been 12 and 12. So I want to focus on the 12 years of the ones y'all believe in. Why haven't they stopped it? I stole the presidency, Bush had 8, and Lying Trump had 4. Nothing stopped. The whole thing is fine. But y'all keep buying the yoki dough.
They don't want to accept the truth that their side benefits from keeping illegals here.
Of course there's benefits from keeping them, and that's my whole damn point, is that both parties Don't include lying Trump. Don't care 5 pennies about no immigrants, and they're all in cahoots.
Bro,
and they ain't gonna shut that door.
Not see the amount of backlash.
You're reading Monica, stop it. I ain't talking about backlash. I'm talking about
Trump was deporting these people, and he got backlash from liberals who said he was abusing their rights. He literally got children. He had the thing about children. Can I go?
He did first, that he would turn the rifles on someone.
No, don't fade him, Monica. Oh, I know what Monica want to hear me say.
Yeah.
Monica want to hear me say, oh, you want to shoot the white American Malcolm? That's what Monica want to hear me say. Monica want to hear me say, I'm going to shoot the white American.
You said it. I didn't. You said it. What did you say?
Theoretically, illegal
You
or outside the law, right?
You good, baby. You never give me a gun to shoot. I won't be shooting strangers.
So which one
Don't fall for the rabbit line, but it's the banana in the tailpipe.
The fruit. I'm just
People's
curious.
name I can't even pronounce.
Dude, how is it gonna get done? Are y'all gonna be singing Negro spirituals out there while you harvest the grapes
Just
for us?
talking. They don't care. It's just
Wait
a talking
a
point.
minute. Isn't your father-in-law a white person and your wife a white person and your children have
Yes,
a white
and they're not gonna be picking fruit
Angel,
later on.
Don't mention family in here.
That's right. There's just only so few rules, and those rules happen to be no calling women bitches unless you're a homosexual or a woman. No spouses, no children, and no threats of violence. That's all. Thank you.
Angel is
Glad
chilling.
you to say and telling the truth and shut the room down. Glad you to
Well, if I say we should throw Malcolm and Thugger into the vegetable fields and have them pick, is that where it's a
I
violence?
don't mind picking some vegetables. I'm picking them now on the stage. I'm picking vegetables right now on the stage. Are you talking?
Oh,
Oh,
Mike
kind
is
of vegetables
here.
on the stage.
Hey, Mike.
Can you imagine Brad being sober for a morning picking vegetables? I can't.
I can't imagine you not trying to rape a woman.
That's why the illegal is there, because peasants don't want to do that work.
I think it's fair play, right, Holly? Like, I mean, you know, you got
said rape
Isaiah
a woman?
Davis.
That's what how we joking now?
Yeah, but it's in poor taste. It's gross. Come on. I know you got lots of insults to berate him with. Like, can we...
Just show a picture of lying Trump. That's an insult. Just pick it. Brad, show a picture of lying Trump on your PTR. Insult all of us. I mean, that's a bad insult. Just show a big picture. You ain't got to say nothing. Don't come with no words. We'll see the insult and take it for what it's worth.
It's just kind of funny because Brad's actually been involved with the criminal justice system and I haven't. That's the funny.
Oh, come on, let's not talk about people's private lives. What's up?
I mean, you're talking to a guy who only got a woman because, you know, he had to sit there and he had to pony up to that white woman to get that money. So, I mean, talk about being uncle for coon. The thug is the resident fucking poster child for coon behavior. He sucked that white pussy dry saying, hey, Charlie,
Are you there, Charlie?
Congressman, if you continue speaking, I want to interrupt you. Could you
Charlie, can you wake up?
Hey, what you
Can you stop eating your donuts?
Whoa.
And turn your police car on?
Wow.
Yes.
So I actually did have a couple of
Did he say donuts? Hey, wait a minute. Hey, Brad, you
Yes,
talking
Charlie
about
is a
sucking...
police officer who
Hey, Brad,
always
you talking about
eats
sucking
donuts,
white, you know what?
sleeping in her car.
Ain't that what got lying Trump to get in trouble? I sucking some,
Until it's time to beat a black man. That's when she wakes up.
I don't even be beating black men like that, okay? So you need to stop that. Anyway, so did you guys hear that they erected a statue of Mr. Good Trouble himself? What's his name? John Lewis. Okay, so the calls to take down the previous statue, which was placed there by the Daughters of the Confederacy back in 1908, began around the time of the white nationalist Charlottesville march, I guess it was. Well, they finally got around to taking it down. Now, this one I didn't find particularly offensive, as I don't find most of them offensive. It was just an obelisk, just a tall item.
Phallic. Say phallic.
No, I will not. Like, I do like the conversations about the monuments just because, and I'm going to read this quote here. A monument is not history itself. A monument commemorates an aspect of history representing a moment in the past when a public or private decision defined who would be honored in a community.
We got Andrew here who really knows how to have a conversation. Andrew, get on stage.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Wait, he left. Damn it.
No, he didn't. I invited him to
Andrew,
stage.
yeah, please. Let's get a conversation. She doesn't know what to
take that though.
Okay. Well, anyway. Now, some of the statues were taken down because of George Floyd, and even a George Floyd statue was erected. I am wholly, against that, of course. But what metric are we using? Is it that the person that is being honored represents something in society that we want to cover up, like people like myself who are living reminders of a terrible past that America has taken efforts to rectify. But
this is a Confederate statue?
Technically, it was placed by the Daughters of the Confederacy in 1908, but it's just an obelisk. So it has nothing to do with...
Yeah, they're traitors. Those were the traitors. We don't honor the traitors who try to betray our country. Fuck them. We're not erecting a statue in honor of this fucking traitor.
Okay, I agree with Louis, but I gotta ask, is it on public land?
It's in front of a courthouse.
Okay, then no, it's gotta go.
But so some of the other ones, it's easier to identify why, as they are, although I don't agree that we should have taken down the Thomas Jefferson monument, but some of them, if they're literally Confederate generals, those are traitors, okay? But this is just it's similar to the monument that's in DC. I don't find that structure particularly offensive. So why?
I would say no to a monument erected for the lady who harbored Confederate soldiers in her house. If they wanted to put up a monument to her, I'd say burn it down too.
You mean Surratt?
Anyone who aided or abetted the Confederacy, fuck them. We're not honoring you.
You mean Surratt, who it actually came out later that the tribunal was just set on prosecuting her, and there's actually questions about her being lynched, that basically are hung by a military tribunal that did not afford her any kind of proper defense or any kind of thing, and there's a lot of contention about whether or not she was actually involved or her daughter.
Why is criminal Jefferson being treated different than criminal Robert E. Lee? Somebody help me understand the difference.
Or criminal Lewis?
Because Jefferson won.
Well, Lewis
was I'm just trying to make sure.
But
because Jefferson was a criminal before criminal Lee came along. I'm trying to figure out what did Lee do so wrong.
I want to point out that the concept of good trouble, I attribute it to Mr. Lewis, John Lewis, that is. But yes, he was a criminal, but he was defiant in ways that were meant to push society forward. So are all criminals, especially historically, are we to dishonor all of them? Because I think that you go on, Malcolm.
No, he wasn't a criminal.
Actually, he was. Technically, he was.
Before you finish, I'm coming back to my truck now. Wait a minute. Think carefully about what you're about to say. Lewis is a criminal, Brad. Let's go all the way with this.
Okay, and I'm not erecting statues of Trump.
I didn't ask you that. Is Lewis a criminal? That's the question.
Technically, yes.
So is Lion Trump a criminal?
He's convicted, technically, yes.
So that was criminal. Yeah, he was convicted and he was arrested. See how Brad switched it up?
No, I didn't. I said technically, yes, they're criminals.
You didn't say technically Lewis was.
There's nothing technical about it. He's a criminal convicted by the court of law. Congressman is a criminal.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
Nothing technical about it.
The Confederacy are putting up a statue of John Lewis.
Yeah, he deserves a statue. He didn't kill nobody.
Okay, that's weird.
He didn't sell nobody. Yeah. Matter of fact, he followed the beliefs the criminals who wrote down didn't believe. They wrote it, didn't follow what they believed. He said, I believe it. I think I'll do it. Yeah, he should actually have a statue.
What's that gonna do or give people to remove history or wipe out history, whether it's bad or good? History comes with good parts and bad parts. What benefit?
Why is this Russian always talking American?
What benefit?
He's an American.
This is a Russian opera. Stop it.
I thought it was American for real.
This is a Russian talk stop.
What is she, Tally? Tally, is she
We let Malcolm up here, who's a documentary show for China, so
Don't hide her question. She's at minimum a U.S. citizen. That makes her
I'm
American.
a very proud U.S. citizen.
Doesn't make her not a spy.
I don't just talk politics.
This idea, thank you, Nick, for that point. This is not wiping out history. It's all this shit is still written in the history books. We don't have to commemorate people to recognize their contributions in history. That's your people to be in history.
You should correct statues. So take Lincoln's down. Take Washington's down. Take all of that.
Falling for it shows your little sheep brains that it's the destruction.
Yeah, you don't have to erect a statue to erase history or not. To let something live on in history. That's fucking retarded.
No. They say the same people that take your freedoms away, make you little slaves again, are telling you that those statues are the problem.
Yeah, you're a Russian bot. You don't matter. Whatever you say doesn't matter. You're a Russian bot. So talk about slavery like you're just gonna try to hit a trigger point. It doesn't. It goes over my head.
You should be proud not to be a part of these European American criminals. You should say thank
You're
God.
trying to hit a trigger point with the slavery bullshit. I'm on you.
No, I know you don't like that.
You're a Russian operative. You're not American. That's the problem.
Yes, I
Is
am.
that these people are celebrating traitors.
You're a Russian op. You're not American.
Federal land. This shit is not, like, you just don't fucking do that. You do not venerate traitors on federal land. You want to do that shit privately on your own property? America, you have that right. But I'll be damned if a courthouse or the White House celebrates a goddamn traitor. It's not happening.
How long have you been here, baby?
Super duper case of misogyny. Super duper.
Once again, it is just this.
That's always trying to justify Confederate statues and Confederate monuments. Fuck out of here. They lost. They lost. They lost, and the victor goes to the spoils.
Freedoms away, your voting rights away. They're
The
replacing you with
Confederates lost, and the victor goes to spoils. They don't get to have their name commemorated.
So I like it.
Fuck all that.
I do want to hear each of your voices, but not all at once. If you could kindly just one singular mic at a time. That's
Can I ask you,
We should
William, it was a civil war. William, how do you?
We don't know those people anything.
Right.
William, blow them up, knock them down.
It's not like we're gonna forget about family members
when they want. Who gave the power? We should just take them down. Because we've been doing. People don't seem to mind them being taken down, except for racists who cares what they think.
Can I ask Malcolm a question? Because Malcolm seems, and I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. It seems like you have this like unilateral, disdain for anyone who does like bad things in your eyes, right? And I feel is that the case? Is that the case?
Not at all. Not at all. We all do that. We all do that.
Okay. Because you seem to like always be like pearl clutching when you talk about criminal this, criminal that, criminal America, criminal that. You know, so one second, sir. If you just trying to be a part of the alright, bro. Just chill. Just wait your turn.
Yeah, I thought it was all of our turn.
You always cry, bro, when this happens to you.
Wait, is this the iPhone?
You cry and you cry.
Wait, is this the
No,
iPhone?
just don't interrupt. No, it's not an ISO.
This is
Just
the
don't
iPhone right now.
interrupt. It's not an ISO. You a two
Oh,
child.
we could all interrupt there, right?
Why would you interrupt?
Because it's not an ISO.
ISO doesn't mean you speak over people. Just calm down, bro. It's not that serious. Anyway, so the whole point. So, William, I'm sorry, Malcolm, if you're not pro-cussing about criminal this, criminal that, what is the point that you're trying to make if you acknowledge that we all do bad things?
Yeah, I'll make it quick. Another brother clearly wants to speak. In my Bible, Jesus said, take the speck out of your own eye, then your neighbors. He never told us not to criticize others. He just thought, you can see way to Russia's crimes, way to Germany, and saw what Cubans did, you should be able to see what South Carolina and Virginia. So what you hear me criticizing is the sanctimoniousness of the United States citizens who's always trying to preach to the world. And they have, in my opinion, the most criminal history of the last 500 years. I ain't talking about world history, I'm just going to stop at about 500. The founding of the country was based on raping one group of people and bringing them to America, and then genocide against another people. Any group of people, when that's your founding, should never come off the mic to tell anybody on earth anything about freedom and justice and peace. They should clean up their own house, let others do the same, and be grateful for the progress we made. But the speechifying to the world, with the history this country has, that's criminal by itself.
So just like African nations that conquered or tribes that did